Hello. Welcome to the Health and Wellness Business Accelerator. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm just going to wait for our amazing co-hosts and panelists to join us. There's Amy. Hi, Amy.
Good morning.
And Kylie. And Madeline. And Lisa. Hello. This is amazing. I'm so excited that we're here. It's been a few weeks, months in the planning and in the build-up. So yeah, tonight is good. Well, tonight for me is going to be a really good night. So for the next 3 hours, we are going to be learning all about how to promote and market and build your business, your health and wellness business. And we have got some amazing co-hosts here. So if you are joining us, go into the chat, please, and let us know where you're from. Just let us know. I live in the UK. I live in a place called Camberley in Surrey, and it's 9 p.m. for me. And our co-hosts are going to be, it's a real international feel that we've got. They're from all over. And I particularly have to give a shout out to Kylie. Got up at it's 4 o'clock where she is in the morning.
Yeah,
and
4 a.m.
And she's got up especially for us. So thank you so much, Kylie.
No problem.
So we've got, oh my goodness, they're all coming in really fast. Patty from Florida, Julie in Minneapolis, Mary says, hi Kylie, Elaine from Poole in Dorset, hello. Luana, I hope I said that right, in Ontario. So we've got Canada, Lisa's from Canada. So yeah, really exciting. So,
Tioka is from Paris. I lived in Paris for 2 years. Hi.
Awesome. Okay, so today we are, let me just give you kind of an introduction and how it's all going to work. So we've got 3 hours together. We're going to have 2 presentations for the first hour. We're going to have Madeline and Amy. And then we're going to break for 10 minutes so that we can all have a bit of a rest. And then we'll come back. And then for the second hour, we have got Lisa and Kylie. And then again, we'll have a break. And then after that, it will be me and Q&A at the end. So let's just do a quick introduction to our co-host. So Madeline is in Austin in Texas. And Madeline knows all about building a health and wellness business. She has done it before, so she knows her stuff. We have got Amy in Sydney, Australia, and it's, I think, is it 7 or 8 a.m. there?
It's 8:04.
8:04. But so civilized. And Amy is our yoga guru. She knows all about building a yoga business. She's amazing. We have got Lisa in Canada. And Lisa is our healthcare copywriter expert, and she knows all about getting your words right, making sure that you know what you're doing. And then we've got Kylie, our early bird, 4 a.m. in Thailand. She's from Australia, but Kylie is all about websites and content and making sure that 2 partner up so that you can turn your viewers and fans into clients and patients coming through the door. So, without further ado, and to stop me talking for too long, I'm going to immediately go and introduce Madeline. Is that all right, Madeline? Are you ready? Is that okay?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
Awesome. So, Madeline, she says that, just to give you a bit of information about Madeline, so many doctors and healers are their best kept secrets of their communities, and they never make the kind of impact that they set out to create. They can get stuck in survival or stability or even success mode where they're treading water and frustrated at their unfulfilled potential, and that is when they reach out to Madeline. For decades, Madeline has been a fierce leader of the holistic health movement, inspiring wellness entrepreneurs to become the healthcare heroes they were meant to be. Madeline works with doctors and healers who want to grow their practice, influence, and income fast and with ease. Her signature systems are built around rapid growth systems for building a sustainable and profitable practice, taking potential clients from skeptical to curious to committed with confidence with authenticity. She's on a mission to transform healthcare from the inside out, and it begins with you.
That's right.
So Madeline's going to be talking about building your business from your strengths and not from your weaknesses. And I cannot wait to hear this. It's going to be so good. So Madeline, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Louise. Super excited to be here. Amy and Kylie and Lisa, I'm sure she'll join us again. Super excited to be here. Thank you all, to all of those who are tuning in and are going to be here today live. Super excited to be sharing with you. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm just going to share my screen so you kind of get to see a little bit what's happening. And we'll get going. So I'm Madeline Silva. Let's see if my little thing will work. There it goes. And that's not the screen I wanted to look at. It tends to click over to. Here we go. Cool. So I'm Madeline Silva, and I started 5 businesses from scratch and sold 2 for top dollars. In the last 27 years, I've helped hundreds of doctors and healers just like you to grow profitable and sustainable practices doing what they love. And I speak fast because I'm from Sweden. I'm born in the French part of Switzerland. I lived in the US for a long time. I speak fast with a funny accent, and I promise you, you might all be fluent in Swinglish by the time I'm over. That's my guarantee for today, for sure. And I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, and so let's see here. Let's see if I can actually get my little thing. Are you passionate about transforming people's health? Right? Are you passionate? Type in yes if you're passionate about really transforming people's health. And this is like one of your missions in your life and why you're here on this live stream, because you want to learn how you can impact even more people. And I just want to let you know, if this is you, you're absolutely in the right place. Because this is what we are all about. This is what we are here. And this is what we are going to be delivering to you in the next 3 hours. Now, the other question I want to ask you is, do you love marketing and sales, right? Do you love marketing and sales? So these are actually 2 questions that I ask almost at every single speaking gig I do when I talk to doctors and healers. And I would say this, about 100% of the room, the arms just goes way up when I ask that first question, right? Because you guys are passionate, you're here for a reason, and there's no, there was no mistake that you ended up taking all the schooling, all the work that you put in to becoming experts in your field. But then when I ask the second question, usually what I get a little bit of nervous laughs in the audience. Maybe I'll get 2 people in the far left corner saying like, maybe I kind of like it, it's not that bad. And if this is you, you're absolutely in the right place, because we're actually going to make this fun. And here's the other thing. I used to hate marketing. I absolutely used to despise it, until I figured out that there's actually a way that you can do marketing that is aligned with your natural strengths, so it feels authentic. And you don't have to feel like a used car salesman when you're out there sharing your message of health and hope. So I totally get it if this is not necessarily your thing, right? But I want to show you in the next 20 minutes how you can make that happen. I know these other lovely ladies that we have here are going to be sharing amazing gems with you throughout the 3 hours that we're here together. And here's the thing, right? The heartbreaking truth is that you can't really transform people's lives and their health unless you share your message of health and hope with the people that you can help the most. And what if marketing and sales actually felt like it was a natural extension of the amazing healing work that happens in your practice? And you didn't have this disconnect anytime you step out and shared about what it is that you do. Would you maybe consider doing more marketing and sales if it actually felt like just how amazing it felt when you're transforming people's lives inside your practice by the magic of the healing that you do, right? Probably, right? So imagine this. You're having lunch with one of your colleagues, a dear friend, and they are talking up a storm about the latest thing that they're doing to grow their practice. And in just a few months, things have really started to take off for them and their practice. And you're listening, a little bit envious at first, but you can't help yourself because you kind of get swept up in their excitement. And so you start asking them questions to figure out how you might be able to do what they're doing in your practice, right? And so you get all the details, and you reach out to the same service that they had hired to help them out. And you sign up and you fork over a bunch of cash, and then you get busy implementing everything as fast as you possibly can. And you're really working it. I mean, pedal to the metal, trying to make it happen. And a few weeks go by and crickets. Nothing is really happening. the phone isn't ringing, your new patient appointments are not filling up, and you're starting to feel disappointment, right? So you pick up your phone again and you call your friend to see like what's going on their end. And they're still totally killing it. Their practice is off the hook. And you hang up the phone and feeling more discouraged than ever. Why in the world is this not working for me? You know, self-doubt begins to seep in. And do I even have what it takes to be successful in practice? Will it ever happen for me? And, you know, the heartbreaking truth is that when you have these amazing healing capabilities, and they're all wrapped up in this beautiful gift, and you're ready to give it to the world, but it seems like nobody wants it, it's heartbreaking. But here's the thing, it's absolutely not your fault. If this is a scenario that happened to you maybe once, maybe twice, it absolutely happened to me. I signed up for all kinds of training and did and model all kinds of experts over the years. And a lot of them have not really worked for me. This have absolutely happened for me too. And it's not the fault of the mentors, it's not the fault of your friend. You know, it's not a fault for the service you signed up with. You know, the problem is that you are copying their tactics. You're copying their tactics that works really, really great for them, their personality, their strengths, but it's not really aligned with who you really are from the inside. You're not really aligned with it, and you're not really bringing out your natural strengths. So it falls flat. And if you can relate to this, you know, just say, yes, I can totally relate. I have felt up against the wall like this and struggled with really getting my business up and running in a way that feels authentic and honest and like it's really coming from me, right? So this is the same when you copy a mentor, a coach, or consultant tactics. Sure, having a proven strategy, you're gonna get some amazing strategies here today. I have my notebook out. I'm gonna be taking notes all as everybody is speaking today. You're gonna get some cool stuff, but here's the thing. It matters to your success to have some of that, absolutely, but you need to have the right strategy, the right tactic, at the right time for your end goal. Your end goal is not the same as everybody else's. And you want to be able to capitalize on your natural strengths. So for example, I'm an introvert. I usually say I'd rather poke my eyes out with a pen than go to a networking meeting, right? So networking is not for everybody. That's okay. There's other things that you're going to be able to do that you absolutely going to love, okay? So, but it can be really difficult to see who we really are, right? We are too close. We kind of have blinders on when it comes to looking at ourselves. And oftentimes, we can't really see ourselves clearly. So what do? So one of the things that I did for my clients inside my Go Expert Fast membership is that I took the guessing game out of it. You know, they didn't have to kind of try to figure all these pieces out, what to put in place, when and where, or what really their strengths really were. And I created this really quick, fun quiz to help you identify your top strengths, right? And it's called the Healthcare Hero Quiz because anybody in my mind, like you, who are doing holistic healthcare out in the world and really making a difference and transforming people's health from the inside out, you guys are heroes in my mind. You guys are the true heroes of our healthcare system. And at this day and time, I think there's no better place to be in a healthcare hero, to be in holistic health, because patients are literally waiting for you to show up and share your message of health and hope with them. They're literally searching for you. More now than ever, people have opened their mind that drugs and surgery is not necessarily the answer, and they're looking for you. So how do you get your message across? That's the most important thing, and that's really what we are here today, for you to be able to connect with the people that are literally praying for you to show up. Okay? So the Healthcare Hero Quiz will tell you what type of healthcare hero you are. Okay? So that you don't have to spin your wheels, right? You don't have to spin your wheels. You don't have to get burnt out. You don't have to run in circles. You don't have to try the gazillion different ways of growing your practice, but you can actually figure out what's going to work for you, right? And so maybe you are a Cape Crusader who's a total go-getter, who has big goals and is not afraid of putting some elbow grease into it to make things happen, right? You tend to burn yourself out because when you kind of create this roller coaster ups and downs because you're all in and then you burn out and then you have to kind of rest, right? So you do spurts of energy. And so the reality is you can make great things happen with pure force, but finding more balance and making it easier on yourself and letting up some of that, all that force that you're putting into it, all that efforting is actually going to get you further than all that full throttle every single time, right? Or maybe you are a light leader who works with clients in a very multidimensional ways. Your work goes really, really deep. And you really feel into what's next for you. And you follow your intuition when you make decisions. But you may struggle to communicate what it is that you do in such a way that people really understand the value of what you offer. Yet trying to explain what you do in really simple ways so that people can understand it just doesn't feel authentic. It feels like it's a watered down version of you. And so you kind of may feel stuck in that catch-22. Or maybe you are a secret genius. You're a lifelong learner, and you love to study the latest healing modalities and are always adding to your repertoire, right? You apply that same insatiable thirst for learning to grow in your practice. And you that you're always chasing the latest and greatest, the shiny object syndrome, that is you, right? And you never quite given anything enough time and energy to see if it's actually going to gain traction. You're always on to the next thing. And you do great when you have a foundational structure to use as a framework, but you tend to rebel against structure, right? You rebel against it. And so you keep spinning your wheels, right? Or maybe you're a logic leader. You love the complex puzzle to solve, right? Something that really dig your expertise into. And you may get bored in a practice with run-of-the-mill everyday health problems, but give you a convoluted health history and you are happy as a clam, right? You make decision by weighing the pros and the cons, thinking things through really detailed. And you have a tendency to move slow, but very strategically. And you sometimes sit by the sidelines because as far as you're concerned, the magic happens inside your brilliant mind. Right? Each of these healthcare hero types comes with its own sets of amazing, brilliant strengths and tendencies that may stop you from growing your practice in certain ways. The more you learn about how your unique strengths and weaknesses play into your practice growth, the easier it's going to become to pick the right tactics, to pick the right strategies for you, and to really get result much, much faster when you are capitalizing on your strengths rather than working against your weaknesses. So I know you guys have been chatting, and if you have an idea of who you might fall into and maybe you feel all of them fit, don't worry, I'm going to give you the link to the quiz just shortly here for sure, if Luis hasn't already typed it in, but I think we're going to share it. We share it in the end, I think, and I have a slide with it all, so just stay with me. There's going to be more, right? So the first part is this healthcare hero quiz, which is really cool, right? It's fun, the types, right? I'm sure you're curious, like, what kind of type am I? Who am I, right? And it will give you a link in just a moment, right? But so if you really want to capitalize on strengths, so you want to make this really fast, I also recommend that you take the healthcare hero assessment. The healthcare hero assessment, if you follow along, you take the quiz, it leads you right into the assessment. And the assessment takes you a little bit deeper, takes you one more layer down. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it goes into 4 key areas of growing a practice: your delivery, your attraction, and your creativity, and your leadership styles, right? So your delivery system, this is the foundation. This is where you build your skyscrapers up. This is where your practice gets built on. What is the best delivery service? For you to deliver your services? What is the best business or practice model for you? What kind of patients do you best serve? Would an online practice or a brick and mortar practice serve you best? How do you create a business model that brings you satisfaction and fulfillment every single day? That's your delivery style. It's different for different people, right? Your attraction style. How do you best attract your dream clients? What are the best ways for you to reach the people you can help the most? Is it on social media, in workshops, speaking gigs? Is it on podcasts? What is it? in your community or online? And how do you deliver your message best? Do you speak best to small groups, one-on-one, or in big communities or other people's groups, right? How do you really connect with the people that you can help the most? And then you have your creativity style. How do you create your vision and what is next for you in your practice? How do you actually bring in your vision into reality? Are you filled with ideas all the time and they're just constantly popping up? Or do you need to be in connection with other thought leaders and influencers to spark ideas? And that's how you create what's next for you, right? How do you stay in inspired action rather than just getting stuck in busy action, putting out fires? But you actually actively creating what is next as opposed to just responding to the chaos, right? And what is your leadership style, right? What kind of leader are you? Are you more of an influential leader or are you more of a strategic leader? What kind of support do you need to shine as a leader in the world? And you may not see yourself as a big leader right now, but if you want to influence your clients to make lifestyle changes and to see their health from a different perspective and differently, you're going to need to lead them down that path, right? Sure, your leadership style may not look like the extroverted, charismatic leaders that we oftentimes see in the public eye. But even quiet, introspective people can be very effective leaders. And if you take both the Healthcare Hero quiz and the Healthcare Hero assessment, you'll end up with a very personalized roadmap on how to set up your practice, reach your clients, and lead them towards better health in a way that feels fulfilling, natural, and enjoyable. So even if you and your friend are both light leaders, as far as the Healthcare Hero type, you may have your delivery, attraction, leadership, and creativity style may be different. So in the end, everybody should end up with a little bit of a different roadmap because we are all unique and different. And this is actually what sets us apart. The more we can start really communicate from this place of how we are different in the world and really bring out our uniqueness, this is how we set ourselves apart from everybody else in our field, everybody else in our lane, right? So this is the very starting point for all of my clients inside my Go Expert Fast membership that take this assessment, and then we build their personalized staircase to success. The tactics, the strategies, whatever we put into that staircase is all based on one, your end goal, and your leadership, right? Your leadership style, your delivery style, your creativity style, your attraction style, and your Healthcare Hero style. All of that comes into to define how to build your staircase. So so here we go. Let me pull that up. Went one too far. So here's the link. So what is your Healthcare Hero type? This is the quiz, right? bit.ly, Healthcare Hero type. And maybe, Luis, you will type that into the chat for everybody so it's easy to grab. Awesome. And so take the quiz, follow the links. It will lead you right into the assessment. I say set aside about 30 minutes to do the whole thing. There is a full 17-minute video that explains the results after the assessment that really describes how it's different and how it works and what each piece for you and what it specifically means for you in your practice. And it also really highlights how you might be sabotaging your success. What are the things that actually get in the way for you to really be successful in practice? So he looks at all these things, and the more you focus on what's really working and your natural strengths, the faster you're going to be able to create what it is that you want, and the easier it's going to get. Now, if you're not ready to jump in with a Healthcare Hero assessment, by all means, join my Facebook community. I have an awesome group of amazing doctors and healers just like you guys who are on a mission to transform healthcare from the inside out and empowering each other to really get our message out there. And so it's called Healthcare Heroes, and it's on Facebook, and I'd love to have you join us. And super excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Second unmute. Awesome. That was fantastic, Madeline. So much amazing information in there and so many things that you don't really consider and don't really think about when you're just kind of in the day-to-day trying to promote your business, trying to get it going, and trying to get new clients and patients. And you've really I loved all of it. I was furiously scribbling and making notes. In the chat, the one that really kind of resonated with me and also in the chat was secret genius. So constantly learning. It's kind of, you know, trying to, what's the next thing? What's the new thing? What information am I missing? Everyone's nodding. What's the information I'm missing? Because you feel like, oh, if I just, you know, I don't really know much about webinars, or I don't really know much about this, or I don't, you know, maybe I need to learn Instagram, or I need to learn, you know, videos. And so you can constantly just be constantly learning and not taking action.
Yeah, so I love that we have a lot of secret genius. It makes perfect sense, right? Of course, the secret genius has to sign up for the webinar, for the live stream, and be here, right? It's like you can't help yourself, right? So I love it, love it.
But on top of that, so that was brilliant. But then also with your styles that you said about the delivery style, the attraction style, creativity and leadership style, all those things that you kind of, you're aware of, but you don't really consider. So I love, like, that was brilliant. That was really, really good. Is there one thing that you kind of notice with your clients? Is there a type that a lot of people fall into, or is it pretty evenly spread?
It's, you know, I would say the logic leaders are not as the really linear kind of, you know, very linear, nerdy, clinical thinkers are not as prevalent. I simply think that they are not necessarily the people that are going to jump in and take the quiz. You know, because they are busy doing their thing in their world, you know, and so I think that, but other than that, I think Cape Crusaders, Secret Genius, and Light Leaders are prevalent, very prevalent, yeah, and very evenly spread.
And what changes have you seen in people once they've taken the quiz? Kind of what kind of changes have you seen in someone as a result of taking the quiz?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, you know, I mean, I oftentimes say successful people do it anyway, meaning that, you know, they don't have more resources, they're not smarter, they don't know better people, they just do it anyway. We're just as, you know, we're just as terrified and scared and struggling against the same self-doubt and fears and all of that. But I think, you know, we keep pushing that boulder uphill, right, no matter what. What I see a lot of, you know, entrepreneurs in general and doctors and healers in particular do is that they kind of tend to stop right before they crease the top. You know, the thing is, like, you know, they go, am I far enough? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? Right? And every time it's kind of, you let go a little bit of that boulder and it starts almost rolling down. And so I think if you just keep pushing it, eventually that boulder creases the top and it's literally like you're having to run after it, right? There's this momentum that happens that naturally takes force. And I think when people start realizing that business can actually be easy, because you know, I've been doing this for 27 years, and most of the doctors and healers, they feel like they're almost like they didn't sign up for this business piece. This is not what they signed up for. Like, they just want to help their patients. They want to make a difference in the world. And all of a sudden, they're kind of stuck with this business piece that doesn't feel like it really fits into who they are. And what I find is that if I can make that easier, if I can demystify some of those pieces for them and make you guys feel like you can actually do this on your terms. You don't have to contort into somebody else's idea of success. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff you really hate doing. You don't have, you know, all of those things that some of us have stuck in our brains, we've been told that we have to do. I mean, so often I get on calls with clients and they first ask me, like, well, do I have to do networking? Do I have to have a really catchy niche? Do I have to, like, they have all these things that people have told them that they have to have in order to be successful. And I say, BS, throw it out and start over and start with you. Start with what you actually love and who you are, and use that as the foundation for building your practice. You absolutely can do that. And the whole idea of the quiz and assessment is to give you a little bit of a how to do that, how to actually make that happen. So you're not just, you know, dreaming of it, but actually putting it in action.
Awesome. That's amazing. I put the for anyone who's interested in the quiz, obviously it was the link was at the end of the presentation. It's also in the chat. I can put it in the chat again because it looks really interesting. I might even take it myself.
Let me know what you think. It's been really fun. You know, I just launched it like really recently launched it, and I've had about 265 people go through, and people people love it, and they're beginning.
Thanks, Kelly.
And people actually feel like it really fits them. That was my biggest concern, right? We create this out of thin air. Does this really land with people? Do people feel like whatever they end up in the assessment and in the quiz fits them. And yes, people are super, really feeling like it's resonating with them. And that was the most important piece for me, to make sure it fits the people who takes it. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Wow. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Madeline. That was enlightening and I loved it. I've got pages of notes. Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, right. Now, next up, we have the fabulous Amy McDonald coming to us from 8:30 now in the morning from in Sydney.
Yes, it is.
Hello. So, Amy is our yoga guru. She's going to be talking about embracing social media. So, if you're not familiar with Amy, then you should be, and just give you a bit of information about it. So, Amy knows what it's like to feel stuck, knowing that what you have to offer is of importance and service to the world, and also knowing that you've not quite got your business to the level you desire, which is totally ties in with what Madeline was saying. And she also knows what it's like to spend years studying and honing your craft, only to discover that while you might be a talented healer or teacher, you're missing the essential pieces to be an effective business owner. So she knows how to craft the nuts and bolts to support you to grow, to serve, and to shine in bringing your gifts to the world with ease and abundance, which is exactly what Madeline said. Running a business can be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. So Amy's going to be talking about embracing social media for real, and how you can use social media as a selfless service, and how to maintain healthy, empowering boundaries on social media. So yeah, over to you, Amy. I'm really excited.
Thanks, Louise. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for being here. Like 81 people joining us. I feel very blessed and honored to be hanging out with you all. I just have one quick correction, and I'm only going to make it because it may become relevant momentarily. I don't actually live in Sydney. I live in the country. And but because it's 8:30 in the morning, there are like swarms of cockatoos in my orchard. So I just wanted to tell everybody, if you hear like pterodactyls, that's what that is, and there's nothing I could do about it. I'm sorry, Louise. I should have put that in my yes, I'd love to be a guest, but you need to be aware of the cockatoo situation. So good morning, everybody. And I'm excited to have a conversation with you about social media. And just for those of you who are like, yeah, well, I'm not a yoga teacher. One of the things that I suspect might bond us all together, regardless of your modality, is that, as Madeline was pointing out, we have been called to our vocations because of a desire to serve, but what may not fuel us is the idea of self-promotion. And I know in my community that one of the reasons yoga teachers can feel standoffish about social media is they're worried that who are they to be bold and brassy, and they just want to help people. They don't want to show off, which is essentially criminal where I come from. They don't want to have to stand out, and they certainly don't want to take up space unnecessarily. They'd much prefer to just be in service. So if that resonates for you, whether you're a yoga teacher or not, I really hope that the content I'm going to share with you today is in service. To that end, try and, as Tioka and Julie and Kate who are here, and anyone else who's from my community who's hanging out with me here today, as they can attest, it's hard for me to stick to 20 minutes. I'm going to do my very best, but in order to give you some good value, I need to get going. Okay, so I want to talk about, I've got 4 principles that I want to share with you. 2 are mindset shifts and 2 are yeah, but sort of, I'm anticipating yeah, but. So 2 mindsets and 2 kind of yeah, buts that I'll run through with you. Please ask me questions as we go. I know Louise has got some time at the end for Q&A, but if there's anything that I say that doesn't make sense as I'm going along, hit it in the chat and I'll try and keep up with all of your comments. Okay, so the first thing so just basic premise before I get into my 4 points. Yes, you need social media. Yes, you need Instagram. Yes, you need Facebook. And if you hate it, too bad. You need it anyway. I don't like social media. Like Madeline, I'm a massive introvert. I'm a ridiculously highly sensitive person. You should see what I do to a hotel room to survive a night. I understand what it's like to go into your shell and not want to come out. And yet, I understand that never before have we been so fortunate to have access to easy to use, global, free tools that help us broadcast our message for the purpose of healing the people who need what we have. So while personally you might have an aversion to social media, the reality is if you are in business in 2019, you need to lean into it. And the great news here is that you can consider it as part of your business. And then when you're done with work for the day or the week or however you structure your time, your social media gets to stay there as well. I just found out actually that I missed a friend's wedding on the weekend because she invited me through Facebook. Anyway, and I didn't get, because I don't use Facebook personally. Yeah, Louise is giving me the hands that I was doing myself. You know, I like to get an invitation with some gold on it for a wedding. Never mind. My point is I don't use social media personally, but I wouldn't have a six-figure business that I'm very blessed to have if it wasn't for it. So lean in. Yes, you get to do it. And it's not just me. I have clients who are yoga teachers, a psychologist client at the moment, a bodywork, a massage therapist client at the moment. And all of them are hitting their income targets. They're growing their business and they are attracting new clients and students from social media, and not just paid advertising, but also through having beautiful online social media presences, particularly Instagram. So you've got to get it is point number one. Okay. Yes, you need social media, and I don't like it at all, says Carly. Oh, see, we got so much in common. We're going to have like a massage and a coconut next time I'm in Thailand. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is recalibrating your mindset about the idea of social media being something that you've got to do and that's onerous, and considering it more in terms of this is one of the ways that I can be in service. You know, in yoga, we talk a lot about not being attached to the outcome. You give your very best, but ultimately, it's not just you that's going to decide the outcome. You've got to go for it with a big open heart and be comfortable with whatever happens. And that is true for social media. You get to share and share and share and just do it with integrity and not be attached to the outcome. And so the idea of, rather than your social media platform being somewhere where you have to show up and look a certain way, or you have to you know, that it's relentless and you've got to be there all the time, or that you have to have something insightful and cutting edge to say every time, the more that you consider your own role in social media in terms of who you are as a person, the more you're going to get in your own way, and the less opportunity you're going to reach the people who really need to hear from you and receive what it is that you have to offer. So in yoga, we talk about this term seva, and it's a Sanskrit word, and it essentially means selfless service, giving from a place of fullness, giving for the inherent goodness of giving, of being in service, of helping people. And no matter what you do as a holistic practitioner, as you know, whatever your modality is, I think we can all agree that you are in fact compelled by this idea of seva, that you are here with these gifts and it is part of your dharma, or your path, as we would say in yoga, to share them with people. And so having this attitude about social media is going to change everything for you, rather than who am I to share something, or I've got nothing interesting to say, or I'm too old, or I don't want to wear my underpants and leg warmers on Instagram, which apparently is what yoga teachers are supposed to do these days. Who am I to do it? Rather, we have to step back into the space of, okay, how can I use these platforms to be in service to people who might be needing to hear a particular message today? How can I use my following to share a message of healing, or encourage a positive lifestyle change, or inspire someone to take better care of themselves, or share a tip that even if just one person decided to make a lifestyle tweak in this moment, you know, the ripples on that pond would be profound, rather than I've got nothing to say, or I don't want people to judge me, or I'm too old, fat, young, whatever, Australian, whatever, I can't do it. How can I use these platforms to be in service? What I like to say with my community is, when we're fearful or resentful or uptight or avoidant of social media, we've got stuck in small self-thinking, i.e. we're being governed by the ego and all of that limiting beliefs and social conditioning and patterning that we've been brought up with, that is keeping not only us playing small and staying stuck in business, but it's preventing, like I keep saying, the people that need to hear from us from receiving those boons. But when we switch into, okay, how can I use my social media presence to be in service to my community, then we get out of our own drama. We get out of our own limiting belief. We get out of all of that negative thinking or fear of consequence or lack consciousness and back into the role of healer. Even if one person gets your green juice recipe and decides to give it a try today, that's a good day. You've been in service to just one person. If there's one busy mother who gets your 3-minute guided visualization you can do in the car while waiting for school pickup and she is more calm when she gets home, that's a good day. You're being in service. And you can use this platform all the time to help people. So I hope if you are starting to consider that maybe there's a different way to think about social media, type me something into the chat. Let me know if this is helpful. Pat, I cannot see Pat, so I think it's Patty, but it's just cut off a little bit. She says, it takes up a lot of time, but I'm trying. Yeah, so start thinking about it in terms of gets to be an investment of your time in how you want to support people. Nice one. Yeah, Louise, is that you? Social media can sometimes feel like homework. Yeah, no. Let it be part of how you serve people, how you support your community, how you be a light worker, how you be a change maker in the world. I love social media. It takes up time, but it's so worth it. Yeah, awesome. Okay, gosh, next. The next thing I want to talk about, so if we think about, for the most part, when you're sharing on social media, and for my people, I want to see you sharing daily, at least. I want to talk now about, well, actually, how do you sell stuff on social media? How do you do that in a way that feels good? It's one thing I can be comfortable with sharing useful stuff for free because I'm a light worker and I'm a healer and I really want to make the planet better and don't worry about me so much. What about when you actually have something that you need to sell? Maybe you actually have a business and maybe you need to, do things like pay your rent or, heaven forbid, have a massage every week. So how do you use social media to actually sell things? So the first thing here to consider is that social media and different social media platforms have different requirements outside of the scope of what I can cover today. But broadly, the etiquette for social media selling is that you want to look to about a 75 to 80% content sharing to 20% sales. So that sort of looks like 3 posts of, hey, here's a thing, or here's something inspiring, or here's something motivational, to one part, would you like to buy this thing from me? And so I have a hack here that I like to share. Anybody who's like, oh my God, I can do the here's my free thing, but the would you like to buy, that freaks me out. What will people think of me? How could I be an energy worker if I'm talking about selling stuff? Or how can I be a psychologist if I should just be focused on my clients' well-being and not on trying to get money from them? If you're interested, in my 3-step system to feeling great about selling on social media, type me something into the chat. Sheila says, I'm so trying. It took me the most of the weekend to get my head in the right space to write about what I'm doing. Wrote a fab MailChimp post today. Yeah, heck yeah, loving all of this. My niche isn't on social media as much, 70 plus age group, says LT. I remember trying to disembark from a plane once and we were stuck and the aero bridge had gotten lost and we were all standing up the front waiting to get off the plane, and there was a gentleman in a hat and a tweed jacket, and he was in front of me waiting to get off, and he was in your age bracket for your clients, and he was so pissed he did an Insta story right there on the plane about how United was taking too long to get people off the flight. So I lovingly invite you to consider that, in fact, maybe some of your people are on social media. All right, so let me tell you this, if you feel, jot these down, if you've ever felt nervous about making an offer on social media, or let alone in the room or after a class or whatever, here we go. The first step is you've got to love your thing so much that you will talk about it to anybody who would listen and a whole bunch of people who won't. So the feeling tone that I like to talk about here is infatuation. You know that I can remember it so clearly. Oh my God, look at my face. Like, this happens every time I tell this story. You know, the first time when you fell in love, like in the romantic comedy type of falling in love, and you know how you just kind of, it was amazing. It's like sleeping on clouds, and how you actually drove all of your friends nuts because even how your new love kind of sipped their smoothie was just amazing. That, if you feel like that about what you do, you will behave like that. You will want to talk about it to everybody. You've got to love what you do that much that talking about it feels effortless. I teach a retreat in Thailand every year. I would rave about it to you until you literally walked away. That's how much I love it. I am so infatuated with this. And it never feels effortful selling it because I'm so in love with it. So point number one, you have to love it that much, whatever it is that you do. And if you don't, then maybe it's not quite the right service for you to be offering. Number two, when you talk about it, when you offer it to people, you have to have the energy of presuming that they're going to say yes. So that would look like making a post on Instagram that maybe it's a 1-minute video and it says, hey, I've got this thing. It's going to be so amazing for all of these reasons. You're really going to love it. The link is in my bio and I can't wait to see you there. Having the energy that, of course, someone is going to say yes to that because it's amazing. You love it that much. You're infatuated. You're lying on clouds. And you're going to talk about it in that way, not being hesitant. Oh, so maybe, you know, I'm going to talk to you about something else for like 10 minutes. And then at the end, I'm going to throw in a link to buy my thing. That freaks people out and is weird and icky. If you presume that people are going to love it because you do, your energy will be really pure and clear and no one is going to feel icky or sold to. And then point number three, super important, is when people say no thanks, don't take it personally. It's like Tinder dating, you know. Not everyone you're swiping is swiping you back. It's okay. Next. Don't take it personally. So my 3-step process for selling on social media, you've got to be infatuated with your shit. Pardon me, Louise, I can't help it as an Australian. You have to be infatuated with it. You've got to talk about it and offer it to people. So of course they're going to say yes because it's amazing. And number 3, if someone says no thanks, that's okay. They're just not that into you. Move on. Next. All right. I'm trying hard. Not much engagement, says JG user. That's okay. Keep looking at what's working and what's not and do more of what works and less of what doesn't. It's all just data. There's no failures. It's just information. Keep going. Sam, love, back to you. How are we doing for time? My God, 7 minutes. So they're the 2 mindset shifts I want you to think about. Do it, share on social media because you want to help people. You want to help people. If it's just one person who says, I'm sure, like, type it into the chat if you've had this. It might just have happened once. It might happen all the time. Someone will message you and say, wow, I really needed to hear that today. Someone sent that message to me last week. I was in a bit of a funk. And someone replied to my Insta story and said, you're this and that, and thank you. And I just messaged her back and said, you know what, I really needed that today. Thank you. Just one person reaching out and sharing that with you makes it all worthwhile. So use your social media platforms as one of the ways that you're in service to your community. And anytime you start thinking that you're not enough or you've got nothing to say or no one's interested or you're not, insert your insecurity, enough, come back to that place of savor. 2, 20% of your posts, and at the end of every live video, you need to be making an offer. You need to sell something. And the way to feel great about that is to be so in love with what you do, you could talk about it all day long and half of the night. Talk to people about it as though, of course, they're going to say yes, and never take it personally when they don't. Hey, Janet. All right, so then I want to talk about 2 things that are my yeah buts that people often say to me when I'm giving this talk. The first one is like, yeah, but I don't want to share all my personal stuff on social media. Yeah, but I don't want to do yoga poses in my underwear like everybody else seems to be doing. Or yeah, but I don't want to talk about my personal journey and my breakup with my boyfriend in order to connect with my community. Great. Here's the good news. You don't have to. One of the things that I'm a huge fan of is you determining what your boundaries are when it comes to social media intimacy. You can have strong connections with people without knowing very much about someone at all. You don't need to share the attributes of your personal life in order to have beautiful rapport with people online. You bringing your open-hearted healer self to a platform is what's going to resonate with the right people, not necessarily the fact that you're oversharing your personal life. Some people, they really like to share that stuff and it really resonates with their community. Other people not. I often use the example of my teacher and my co-student. We both have the same teacher. My teacher has photos of his children on Instagram all the time and always has, and it's a big part of his brand. Whereas my friend, never pictures of his kids. It's just off limits for him. This is his business and his family does not get put up on his business social media. Neither of those are right or wrong. They're just appropriate for the individual. So never feel that in order to have connection, you need to overshare or transgress your social media intimacy boundaries. You get to decide what they are, and you get to enforce them with love. And building rapport is not the same as sharing a whole bunch of your personal stuff. If you're not the sort of person who wants to put pictures of your smoothie on the internet, you don't have to. But if you are the sort of person who likes to do that, and your cafe latte and everything else, have at it. It's not right or wrong. It's just got to feel good for you. Yes. You don't have to overshare if you don't want to. No, I mean, your oversharing is going to be different from everyone else's. If you're a regular listener to my podcast, I have a podcast, it's called Abundant Yoga Teachers, go subscribe. I'm always using dating analogies. I can't help myself. It's amazing how many times I find the opportunity to liken business growth to my dating life. That's okay for me. It's absolutely not okay for other people. There's those people who have like, I love you, I'm not judging, this is just to illustrate a point. Those people who are like celiacs, you got a friend, you're at a restaurant, they're a celiac, and they just want to tell you everything about the things that go wrong when they have wheat. Like, for me, that's an overshare. But if you're, a GI tract health person, maybe that's how you create rapport. I don't know. Love you, Julie. All right. And then in my final moments, the next thing, the last but that I wanted to share with you today is, but what do you do if people are shitty to you? What do you do with the haters? What do you do with people who are going to judge you? What do you do with the people who need to project all of their stuff onto you? Honestly, this is going to happen, and the bigger your profile gets, the greater your following grows, the more of this stuff you're going to attract. It's just the nature of exposure. And the good news here is that it gets to be part of your personal development journey or your yoga practice. If someone's going to hate on you, you get to do your own inner work to build up your skill set in not taking that personally. Don't try and avoid it. Don't not say something because you're worried about being judged. Be you, be authentic, and understand that you have the resilience and the capacity to choose how you're going to respond in any moment. I'm going to finish with this quick story. I believe that all comments, particularly on Instagram, are super powerful, and you want to engage with all of them. I have a client, he teaches yoga for men. In fact, he's an Australian man. He's a rural Australian man, so he teaches yoga for blokes. And if this wasn't Louise's event, I would put an F-bomb in there. Anyway, he put a picture up on Instagram of him doing Urdhva Dhanurasana, which for non-yogis is like a big back bend where you make like a wheel with your body. He's a guy, he's wearing yoga pants. Someone writes on his Instagram, nice bulge. And we had a session about it. Like, what do I do about this? Do I delete it? I probably should delete it. I don't want people to think about sex and my junk when they're thinking about coming to my class. Like, I don't want to freak people out. I'm like, are you kidding? That's great. This is going to be controversial. Don't take it personally. Someone likes your bulge. Whatever. Just say thanks. See you on Thursday. Like, you get to decide how you respond to all of this stuff, and you get to shake it off. You get to let people go in love, and it's not your job to fix them or control what they say. All engagement is good. You get to be in control of it. So let me quickly recap. 1, let your social media be a way that you serve. 2, use it as an opportunity to make offers and feel good about it. 3, you get to decide what's sharing and what's oversharing, and you get to enforce that with love. And 4, you will get trolled. People are weird, and you've got the capacity and the resilience to be okay with it. Folks, I wanted to let you know that if you are interested in having me take a diagnostic look at your social media, you can book in for a social media abundance assessment with me. I've only got 25 of those because I'm actually going to go on a holiday. But Louise, if you wouldn't mind sharing the link in the chat, that would be awesome. You can go book one of those in there, just free, you, me, Skype, and your Insta or your Facebook page, depending on how you want to roll with it. I'll take a look at how it's working, what you might like to tweak about it, what I'd suggest some changes to make, and we can troubleshoot some stuff. I can celebrate how awesome you are that you're doing it anyway. But like I said, only 25 of those places because I've yet to clone myself. So I'd love to talk with some of you there. Thanks, Louise. That's me.
Amy, that was amazing. Thank you. I love your style.
Oh my gosh.
The two personal things that you said there about, well, first of all, what you said at the opening, you got invited to a wedding on Facebook. Like, there's no invite in the post. Am I old? Like,
yeah, we are, but yeah, I agree.
and that one about the man back. It's just hilarious. I love it. I love it. I love your style. It's fantastic. Right. So talking about what you talked about, if we're not talking about bulges and wedding invitations. So Instagram, like, is that your preferred social media at the moment? Do you feel, I get the kind of feeling that the vibe on there is a bit more friendly, especially than Twitter. Like, what are your thoughts?
What I recommend to people is that for most of us, we're busy, and being across two platforms is what most of us can handle. So pick two and really go for those. One of them needs to be Facebook because of the advertising component. So while people might not use Facebook much anymore, the reality is the advertising capacity of Facebook is incredibly powerful, and Facebook is on a rampage to draw in, like, what is it? I think that they're talking about like 2 billion more Facebook users in the next 12 months or something. So you need to be there whether you like it or not. Personally, I love Instagram because it's got some different functionality that I like, and I'm really seeing in my clients they are calling in new business just from being themselves and having fun on it. So they're the two that I like. I'm not intellectual enough to tweet.
Oh, shush. I don't think I'll... We don't know about... I was going to make a comment there, but I won't judge. In terms of like your clients and your experience with people, so for me, like, I really like that point about boundaries, because I have 2 children. I don't post anything about them on social media, even on my personal page. I don't post anything either. So, like, what have you seen kind of for your clients in terms of like how they've grown their client base through social media, but kept their boundaries as well?
I think it really varies. Like I said, I make jokes about my dating life on my podcast all the time, but I would never actually go into specifics. Okay, my brand is kind of goofy, and so goofy jokes about Amy spilling bolognese sauce, vegan bolognese on her blouse, kind of, that's part of my brand. But I'm not going to talk about this particular person and this is exactly what they said, for example, this morning one of my clients had a video on Instagram doing Nowly, like the abdominal self-massage. And that one for me is a no-go. Like, I'm not putting my stomach on the internet for one, but also she was doing it in her bedroom, and there is no social media from my bedroom rule personally. Not that anyone could even tell, but I know I don't want the world in my bedroom. So, I think it really depends. I want to say it's got to feel good for you, but I'm sure that for a lot of people watching, the whole idea doesn't feel good. That's where you need to come back to principle number 1. How can I be in service? How can I get out of my own way and get back into being a conduit for something that's greater than me? How could this message actually help even just one person today feel better about herself, feel like she belongs, feel like she's worthy? Just coming back to being in service rather than who am I to.
And last question about Jesus. So obviously you said as your profile gets bigger, more people are aware of you, and then what comes with that can be more negativity. Yep. At what point did you notice that, because obviously when you're just starting out, or if you've got like a few hundred followers, like you're not really getting those vibes from people. So at what point did you notice personally that you started to get a bit more negativity?
I think I always had it. And if anything, at the start, it would take me out of the game for days. I remember once a woman wrote me this email, like it was paragraphs. I didn't even read the whole thing, because at one point on my website, I'd written something about how I'd bought my own house. I'd come out of a relationship, I'd bought my own house. I was sharing my story. I was trying to be inspiring. And she wrote me this massive email about how I was shaming all women who didn't have money. And, obviously I was spiritual because I was so caught up in material possessions, and it went on and on and on. And like, that floored me. That took me to, oh my God, maybe I need to go back to managing landfills, which was what I used to do. Whereas these days now I can look at, and then I went to the next stage, right? If we look at the pendulum swing of personal development. Then I went to the next stage of every time I'd get something like that, I would think it was my job to show them how, you know, I was right and they were wrong and I could help them and I'd try and change their mind. These days I just see, okay, I've been a trigger for someone. You know, I hope that that trigger might help them unravel something that's going to be in service to them, but it's not my job to get in there and meddle with their belief system. So I think, fortunately, my capacity to be able to deal with them has increased at the rate I get them. And I also am more aware now of the sorts of things that do solicit more of that stuff in my community. For example, I can be quite irreverent talking about spiritual concepts. And I know now to say ahead of time, you know, if you're of this particular lineage, this might be offensive. So people know
There's a
not to
warning.
take it quite so literally. That's right.
This post comes with a warning.
That's right. That's right. I'm saying it with love. I'm trying to make a point. This is not about your spiritual tradition.
Cool, awesome. Amy, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I put the link into the chat. There are only 25 spots and already we've got way more than 25 people just on this webinar alone, let alone people to read. So if you want to get in with Amy and have a 20-minute, is it 20 minutes? Is it 20-minute chat?
Yep.
You want to have a 20-minute catch up with her about your social media, you should totally do it. So book your place now. Cool, right.
Thank you.
Brings us up to our first hour. Amazing. It's gone so quickly already. Madeleine, Madeleine did give us a fantastic talk, and Amy, you're fabulous too. So we're going to take I think we're going to take a 5-minute break now, and we will be back. So I make it, well, for me, it's 2 minutes. I'll say 2 minutes past the hour because everyone's on a different hour. So 2 minutes past the hour, and we will be back at 7 minutes past the hour. Cool. I will see you in 5 minutes. Hello, welcome back. Okay, amazing. I've had a chance to take a breather. So I just want to ask everyone in the chat and ask the panelists too, from the first hour so far, from what we've learned from Madeleine and Amy, what has stood out to you?
Well, I'm going to jump in here and say that honestly, the biggest takeaway for me was always learning to come from a place of service with your social media. And it's something that I naturally gravitated towards doing, was serving with purpose and knowing that it's not always about selling. It doesn't have to always be about selling. And it's always about you being passionate for what you do. And that's it. Like, that's the sole purpose of what you're using social media for. Is it is a way for you to express what it is that you do so that people can trust you and like you. And I mean, as soon as Amy said that, I was like, yes, that's it. It's me. It's exactly how it's supposed to be.
Madeline, Lisa, any thoughts from you so far?
I am a little nervous now, to be honest, Madeline, because I'm thinking that I'm one of those rare logic leaders and my presentation is so I'm like, I have to do the quiz because wow. We'll see. But you know what? I love that you're saying that everybody's different, because even as holistic health professionals, that's part of the foundation, right? Like, everybody's different and unique, and by incorporating that element into your business, you can totally stand out better because it's a massive industry. But also, you can feel comfortable being yourself and attracting your ideal clients by owning what you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. Yeah, really sweet. I just, of course, just loved Amy. Amy, you have great energy. I just love your really down to earth, simple things, but like super impactful pieces of information you were giving us. And I love the whole troll thing. I celebrate my trolls. Celebrate your
I do too.
Part of the course, right? It's just part of the course is what happens. And when you get a little bit more visible. So I would just say this, make sure you have people in your corner, like communities like this, and tapping into having mastermind groups and people in communities so that you have a safe place to go and go, oh my God, this just happened, what do I do, kind of thing, right? So you're not feeling like the unicorn out there too much. Sometimes that really.
That's a really great point, Madeline, having people around you who can like help and support you and who can either lift you up or, you know, sympathize and say, well, this happened to me. And yeah, that's a really, really good point.
I love that one too, Madeline. And I think Siobhan said in the chat, I wasn't going to do the Taylor Swift thing, but she did. So thank you, because like Taylor Swift has saved my life on numerous occasions. And I like to think that you haven't made it until people are kind of hating on you a little bit on the internet.
That's when you know you've made it. That's the thing. That's when you know you've actually, you know, you've started digging below the tip of the iceberg. It's like, okay, now I'm getting somewhere. Exactly right.
That's true. True. Awesome. Okay, cool. Right. We shall move on to our next speaker, Lisa. So Lisa is our copywriting superstar, and she's going to be talking about something which is so useful for all of us to be using. And I am going to be, again, taking pages of notes about what she's going to be talking about. So just to give you a bit of background about Lisa. So Lisa knows the health and wellness industry. She has a Master of Science degree, plus she spent 12 years in the health products industry, and she studied holistic nutrition. She knows her stuff. Throughout her work, she's focused on what's right and not who's right. For over 2 years, Lisa has been serving 5,000 online wellness practitioners, helping them to understand and create quality content based on the best scientific research. She also creates customized and done-for-you blog posts and helps optimize health blogs and strategize content to grow wellness businesses. All in all, Lisa helps health and wellness professionals build their authority with strategically planned, easy-to-read scientific health content who want to stand out in the crowded, often unqualified market of entrepreneurs. She helps them establish trust with their audiences, add credibility to their services, and save them a ton of time, which we could all do with more of, so they don't have to do the research or writing themselves. And Lisa is going to be talking about how to get found online. People are searching for your health and wellness services. Over to you, Lisa.
Yay. And this is the perfect segue from Amy's talk on social media, because Google and search engines is like hand in hand with getting found and sharing your message. So I am going to share my screen, and I have my little slideshow presentation prepared. So can you guys see my screen? How to get found? Yep. Okay, cool. So I'm going to quickly, in 20 minutes or so, talk about how to get found when people are searching for what you offer. In other words, SEO, so search engine optimization, and keyword research 101 for online health and wellness professionals. So that's a little bit about me, but we had an introduction. So what we're going to talk about really briefly is why search engine optimization is so worthwhile, and in my opinion, a great complement to social media, because you're hitting your target audience at different stages of the buying cycle, which I'll talk about. There's 2 ways that you can find the best keywords to target, and tips on optimizing your blog posts. So part 1, why search engine optimization is so worthwhile. And I'm not bad at getting some of my posts on Google and in the #1 spot and for my clients. So I've done a bit of that. And doing that, you kind of, it's a different approach, because you put in a lot of effort up front to do your keyword research and optimize your posts. And then eventually it just kind of flows. It's almost like Madeline was saying, like you're pushing that rock up. And then when you start seeing people just finding you on the internet, it's like it just starts rolling down, and it's amazing. So I, like literally my whole career, I don't even know if I spent $100 on ads and promotion personally. And I'm always getting inquiries. In fact, February was kind of crazy. So this is, I wonder if the rock is going a little faster now, but I have a waiting list. And the whole idea, like the whole point of this business accelerator as well, is to help everybody get clients and show all of our best tactics and strategies. So that's what I want to talk about today. Full disclosure, I do freelance health writing. So in January, I literally, I had exactly seven clients who paid me to do custom freelance work for them, like a ghostwriter. And of them, 5 of them found me on the internet. They literally contacted me saying, can you please do something for me? They were already sold. And just So, you know, the one was a referral, a friend of a friend, and the other was in a Facebook group. But really, once you start seeing results, they just start coming effortlessly. So my position is if you target the right keywords and you optimize your posts and pages for those keywords, then you can be found exactly when your ideal clients are looking for you. So I'm going to kind of do a little contradiction because I do all these kind of pros and cons. So I'm going to look at organic SEO. So literally keyword optimizing a post and having it naturally ratchet up the ranks in Google over weeks. Usually it takes at least several weeks, if not a couple months, versus paying for advertising, because obviously you'll have less ad spend to do it, but also it makes you look like an authority because people are finding you when they're trying to answer their question. When you look at organic SEO and social media requires some day-to-day maintenance. SEO is more upfront. So it's a little bit of a different scenario there. And then, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys can see, I feel like I made my slides too big. Here, I'm going to have to shrink you guys. I'm sorry. I'll just shrink you guys a little bit so you can see there. All right. When you do organic SEO, I think it's so worthwhile because it reduces the time to nurture your ideal clients. It reduces a lot of the need to overcome objections. And the reason why is because you're finding them at the end of the stage of the buying cycle. So they're already at the point where they're either researching the answer for their burning question that you have a solution for, or they're ready to purchase and they're looking for help to help them right then and there. So it's a very different strategy. I also find it worthwhile because when people find you, you kind of have this like a little bit of authority where it's like, oh, I found you and you're on Google or whatever search engine. I mean, Google is kind of the default. And it's like you've earned their attention, that you've done something amazing that is so valuable and worthwhile that people are finding it to help them. And again, it's a different way of really being in service. And also, I swear, the wellness industry is huge. I think the last estimate was $4.2 trillion. It's like bigger than pharma, no joke. And people are starting to invest a little bit here and there in SEO. I can tell you that if you type in any health and wellness, look up your niche and see who's ranking. And there's probably going to be a few of the really big people who are going to be ranking. And there aren't a ton of other people out there doing it. But what I found last year, which was really interesting, I was working with a client to try and get their blog up and ranking on Google for their keywords. And we were doing great. Like within the first few months, we had like 3 of the posts were in the top 50 and their domain authority was increasing and all of these measurements were looking good. But you know what? Some of their competitors were doing it as well. So it's almost like now's the time to kind of get into it and try to start grabbing those keywords that you're looking for your niche, because some people are doing it, and if other people in your niche are doing it, you're kind of losing ground. So part 2 is 2 different ways to find the best keywords. And by keywords, what I mean is the literal words and phrases that people are typing into the search bar. That exact word or phrase. So there's 2 ways you can do it that I have seen people do it and that I've done it. So you can do a one-off keyword research, or you can do a strategic keyword research. And there's a big difference between the 2. So I'll give you a little brief overview. For one-off keyword, this happens when you have an idea for a blog post. You have an idea and you're like, I want to write it on this topic, but you don't know exactly what people are searching for, the exact phrase. So for example, if we're talking about, recipes for celiac patients or celiac disease, people who have celiac disease, and you have breakfast recipes. So you don't know exactly, you have to do research to see, are people typing in breakfast recipes for people with celiac disease? Or are they typing in celiac disease breakfast recipe? Or are they talking about gluten-free recipes for breakfast? Like, that is what I mean when I'm talking about keyword research. Like, what are the exact words people are typing in? where you want to be the number one listing on that exact keyword. So when you do this one-off, you kind of do it one post at a time. So you start with your idea, your topic idea, and then you find the right keyword. And I'll tell you after how you can optimize a post for that keyword. But that's why we're kind of doing it one at a time. There's a couple of options that you can use to do the keyword research. One is Google AdWords, which is free and everybody can go ahead and use it. So that's the first place where you can start. And what you're looking for when you're doing the keyword research are two things. You're looking for how many monthly searches are there? Like how many people are looking for it? Are there 14 people a month looking for this exact keyword, or are there 1,400? It makes a huge difference. The second thing you want to look for is competition. Are there already some really great websites and blog posts already ranking for it? Or is there more of an opportunity to kind of get into that exact word at this exact time? So those are the two things that you look for keyword research. High monthly searches and easy to get up there. So some of the software I was mentioning with Google AdWords, Google Trends is another good source, but it doesn't give you the exact details that we're looking for. It doesn't give you the exact monthly searches and the exact competition, but it's another thing to consider. And one of the ones that I use is called Web Text Tool to do one-off keyword research. Now, the second way that you can try and rank your posts on Google is with strategic keyword research. And what I mean by that is, you know your niche, you have a few keywords, and you throw them into this super powerful software. And I say powerful because I'll just tell you a quick story. The first time I ran this software for a client, I had bought the software, I was running it, and my computer started humming, and it was like everything was slowing down, and the program was gonna take like an hour or more, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I broke my computer. I emailed them like, is this normal? Because this sounds like it's breaking my computer. And they're like, oh yeah, this is the way it works. So it's really awesome. It's really cool software. And what it does is it runs those few keywords in, and it gives you thousands. I wrote hundreds, but depending on the number of keywords, you can get thousands of suggested keywords. And once you have this huge list, you start prioritizing and pulling out certain ones. So you want to, again, look for the monthly searches and low competition, and then you pick the ones that have the highest monthly searches and the lowest competition, and that is your first choice. And then the next biggest monthly searches and the next hardest competition is going to be your second choice, and you literally prioritize them all starting from there. So you can use all of this massive amounts of data with all of this keyword information to decide on your keywords for individual blog posts, and even to help you come up with categories of content. And when you're going to try and rank a blog post on Google, I mentioned that you have to kind of put in a bunch of effort up front, and it's true. And you call them like the epic pillar or cornerstone blog posts. And then once you have pulled out, say, a handful or even a dozen or 2 dozen keywords from this huge strategic report, that's how you decide which topic to blog on next. The first one and the second one and the third one. And so instead of starting with your blog post topic and find the best keyword, you're finding the best keywords and then strategically blogging on those exact topics. So a couple of ideas for software that you can use for this, and I can put some attached to it. SEO Power Suite is one that I use, and there's a ton of others. There's SEM Moz, got a bunch of software options to do this kind of strategic keyword research if you so desired. And again, it becomes part of your content strategy in your editorial calendar. So you use this information to help you choose your next and your second and your third blog posts. So let's say we have a keyword. We found an awesome keyword that has monthly searches and not very much competition. How do we optimize our post? And want to put in a quote, Neil Patel, who's one of the kind of content marketing experts out there, is he talks about Google's much more concerned about a site's pages than its homepage. So it's not necessarily strategic to try and rank your homepage. The reason is that the search engines, like Google, their main priority is the searcher. So they want to be the search engine that will give the searcher exactly what they're looking for with the best piece of content on the internet to answer that question and give that to them. And the reason why blog posts are so important in this is because it's updated new relevant information, and also it's valuable information that can answer questions. So last points are to optimize. So we have a keyword. It doesn't matter if it's one-off or strategic. We have a keyword that we know is a great one to start ranking for in Google. And we need to put the keyword in all of the following places. So here is like total actionable steps. You have your notepad. Put your keyword in, your URL. And by this I mean your URL is your name or whatever your business name is, .com/keyword. You don't need to have a date. You can have maybe a category or the word blog, but you definitely want your website/keyword. And that could be it. You don't need to have a long drawn out URL, because the whole point of this slide is that you're telling Google what your blog post is about. So you need to, all of these little indicators are what Google looks for when it decides what is going to rank for which keywords. So again, you have in your URL, you have in your title. You also want to put it in the first 50-ish words. And of course, it's going to all flow well and be written and edited well for a person. You're not going to throw it in just for the sake of throwing it in where it's kind of awkward. You also want it in at least one header. You want it in your post's meta description. So that is, if you have the Yoast SEO free WordPress plugin, then you know what I'm talking about. But whenever you search on Google, you know you have kind of the blue title, and then you have the URL, and then you have this little description. Now, if you don't actually give your blog post an actual description, Google will just pull usually the first sentence. You have the opportunity to actually type in and create a meta description, which is another opportunity to tell the search engine what your blog post is about. So make sure that keyword is in that as well as every alt tag on your images. So when you upload your image, if it's image 001, you want to rename it, keyword, and then describe that image. Make sure your keyword is in every image, and you can do 001, 002, it doesn't matter, as long as the keyword is in that, as well as anchor text for internal links. So another pro tip, if you're trying to get found when your clients are looking for you, having a lot of internal links in your blog posts, like, you know, when you kind of highlight the text and then it links to another one of your blog posts that relates to that, and you have eventually you're kind of developing this whole network of useful information for your clients. That anchor text, that text that you literally highlight and you put the link into, is called anchor text, because that's what's anchoring the link to the other blog post. Don't use click here, or you can find them here. Make sure that anchor text, whatever it is, so if it's like breakfast recipes for people with celiac, it is actually descriptive, and that's what links to that other blog post, so that it's another indication to Google that that's what that blog post is about. A couple of other pro tips is to not use the same keyword twice on your website. And I mean exact same keyword, because when you run that software, you're going to come up with all these different combinations and permutations. Don't use that exact same keyword more than once, because then you're going to be competing with yourself. And also, as I mentioned earlier, remove extraneous things from your URL. So you don't need your dates in the URL, but make sure the keyword is in it. And then, once you have your blog post optimized, then you can start working on the other 200 things that Google looks at when they're optimizing, when they're looking at your domain authority for your blog. And another tip, and this is something that I do with, especially with some of my high-ranking posts, it's really important to keep it up to date. So, and then, you know, when you do an update For example, you're going to add a video, or you're going to add more information, or you're going to throw in another opt-in. Whatever you're going to do, make sure you update it at least once a year. And that will help you maintain that level. Because remember, people are slowly starting to catch on with SEO. So by continuously updating it, and you update it, you can update your date and republish it with a new date with the same URL. And that is another indication to Google this information is really important to you. You're an expert in this particular area, you have authority in it, and you have recent, relevant, new information. So let's summarize. SEO is a really worthwhile approach to marketing your business because you are putting in the upfront effort. But when people find you because they're searching for you, they are practically ready to buy. There's two ways that you can find the best keywords to target. So you can either target one-off, where you have an idea and you find the keyword to match, or you can do strategic, where you come up with the software comes up with ideas and then you create the blog post to match. And I give you a bunch of tips on optimizing your blog posts once you have found the keyword. So I have provided a link to grab my blog post, and it's available on the internet on my blog for free, but you can also download it. And it is on 60 health and wellness blog topics. So if you're ever stuck for an idea on what to blog about, I have ideas. And I think we are done. So I'm going to stop my share. Am I good for time?
Yes, you were great. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was amazing. I've obviously written a load of notes. But I've got a few questions as well, actually. I've got quite a lot of questions, so I'm going to pick my favourite ones. What do you do? Do you do strategic or one-off?
I have been doing one-off for a long time, and I started doing strategic for my clients, and I'm like, why am I not doing it for myself? So it is so on my list to do, like by the end of Q1, because I mean, it's good to rank for one post here and there, but when you actually have a full-on strategy, you don't even have to think about what you're going to blog about. Like, you know, it has all your topics, so it is definitely, I'm definitely up-leveling.
Great.
My own advice.
One of the things, how important is it to post regular content on your website? Because that is one thing that I know, like, a lot of people struggle with is thinking of the content. So obviously you've helped with that, but like finding the time to do it all the time, and how important is it to regularly update your website?
It is one of those 200 criteria that Google has, so you can give it as much or as little input as you want. As a general rule, everybody has their own way. I think that in the past, I have always thought that we should be consistent, make sure you're always updating, you know, something, newsletter people, and then when you have your blog posts on social media, etc. I'm starting to think that if you're being consistent is great, but having a few really good epic blog posts on key keywords for you is really important, and you can't just crank those out like in a half a day. So I think that I'm starting to think that a mix is the best strategy at this point. So if you can do it every week or two, that's great. I mean, of course, you know, if you look at the numbers, the blogs that post 3 times a week get more traffic than those that post once a week, etc. Like, I know all of those numbers, but in the real world, I mean, I don't even do that. So once every week or two, I think is great. And a couple of like really epic ones that, again, you republish with a new date when you update it are also going to be moving forward in 2019.
And how long for you, or would you suggest an epic blog post is?
When 2 studies I saw I'm sorry, I got the research on. They looked at the length of the posts that were on the front page of Google, like that ranked at the top of the Google. And one of them found that the average length was 1,600 words, and the other one I think was 2,100 words. So when you're talking epic, it doesn't have to be 10,000, but it definitely can't be 500. So if you can be in and around the 2,000 mark, but it's really good and useful, that would be awesome.
Fine, that's brilliant. And do you, like, this is such an awful question, and I'm sure there is no straight answer to this, But how long does it, so if somebody follows the strategy, how long would it take for somebody to start seeing results and see themselves climbing up the Google rankings? Because obviously, you know, if you're not on page 1 of Google, you're basically not on the internet. So
Right.
how long does it take to start climbing?
It will take weeks for sure. And again, if you've chosen the right keyword and that has high search and is not very competitive, what I did with one of my clients last year is within less than 3 months, I think it was like 10 weeks, I got 3 of my posts in the top 50 on Google on their website. I mean, top 50 is page 5, so there's still work to do. But over the course of those 8 or 10 weeks, we were seeing progress. So it's a long-term strategy. And that's why I think it's a great compliment to social media, because social media is kind of here and now, and you're warming people up. And this is more of a, when people are already researching or they're already ready to buy and you're there. So it's kind of a 2-pronged approach.
Awesome. Awesome. This is amazing, because I know that when I've read or heard some people talk about SEO before, it can feel a little dry.
Yes.
And a little bit like, oh, here comes the tech. But that was brilliant. That was really, really good. Really, if anyone has any questions about SEO, then put it in the chat. We can ask them at the end. Please, you know, do put them in if you have any questions, because I know some of that can be a bit technical. So do let us know if you have any questions, and Lisa can explain things a bit more. Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
We are on to our 4th co-host, Kylie, who it is now like maybe a bit not, it's not 4 a.m. anymore, which is good, which is good. So Kylie is our tech guru. She's going to be talking about some of the stuff that we've been covering already, but kind of really tying it together around kind of using social media and websites and tying them together to help, you know, bring in leads and turning them into clients. So let me give you a bit of background about Kylie. So Kylie is a health coach who now helps health and wellness businesses, including health coaches and yoga teachers, turn their fans into followers and into buyers, into clients through content marketing and websites. She's certified in health coaching and children's nutrition, and before she crashed headfirst into health and wellness industry, she mentored sales teams for global IT companies to hit monstrous targets in the millions each quarter. That sounds absolutely terrifying to me. She has a hidden talent since she was little. Her hidden talent since she was little has been art, creating and design, and nothing brings her more happiness than seeing coaches and mentors just like you feeling confident in their business. She creates content, she designs websites, and she guides coaches and mentors on building a business online. And she's going to be talking about using content to drive visitors to your website and then having a website that converts those visitors into clients.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here. And I can tell you now, it is like, you know how the universe just throws you something and it just all works seamlessly. I've got to tell everyone who's on this webinar, I barely knew anyone before doing this, but I knew of everyone that's on this webinar, and it was the perfect fit in terms of each and every one of us have such complementary services and support for coaches that it just, every single one of you who spoke, I literally have almost every piece of what you've got inside my slides. Like, it's just perfect. So what I want to talk to you about today is content and websites. So I'm just actually going to share my screen. I wasn't too sure if I was going to use some slides, but I will. I hope everyone isn't death by PowerPoint already. Let's see here. Okay, so can you all see my slides? Everything is visible? Okay, fantastic. So I'm Kylie Malcolm. For those who know me, I think a lot of my people are on this webinar or have joined to watch the replay. I am a certified health coach. I help health and wellness coaches, or predominantly any coach really, get online, get seen online. And while I don't like to focus on the social media aspect, it is a really big, important piece of what it is you do as a coach in order to have that website and use that website as your conversion tool. So there's 2 really succinct pieces that we're going to talk about today, and that is your content and your website and using that as a conversion. So yes, I have dealt with multi-million-dollar contracts. Yes, I've had to mentor sales teams in excess of 20 people at one time, making sure that they hit those targets, reach those targets. I've mentored people for pretty much a large portion of my career since I was 18 and got straight into the workforce. I studied business management while I was at school as a side thing so that I could just excel when I left school. I didn't want to go to university. So to say that I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit is, you know, quite part of who I am. Okay, so let's talk about what your online business should focus on. So essentially, you want to use your content. So when I talk about content, it's anything that you throw out online. You want to use your content as a way to build the trust factor. It's all about the like factor, the trust factor, getting to know you. Can you serve me as a viewer of your content? And then you utilize your website as the conversion tool. And what that does is you have this perfect place online with your content that gets you the like and trust, and then your website is the natural progression to convert those people into subscribers, into buyers, into whatever it is doing. And because there's so many factors here when we talk about conversion, essentially it's in exchange for something, whether that be payment or an email address. So what is content? So content is essentially anything that you throw out online, and it's your online persona, it's your message, it's your blog, it's your website, your programs, it's what you share, it's your images, it's the text, it's even just that quick little Twitter post. Any of that is content that you're going to use for your business in order to give out that vibe of what it is that you do. And I know that Amy talked about this, and I know that Lisa talked about the SEO, and I know that Madeline talked about, you know, discovering who you are first and what it is that you're all about in order to facilitate that whole process. So it all ties in beautifully seamlessly, making sure that A, you have your online persona or your real persona that you want to portray down pat. Then you focus on what it is that you want to share and what you're comfortable with sharing. And then you start focusing on, okay, what's the purpose of my content? What do I want to use as the end game? Okay, so your content is your way to build trust. So that's how we build in that know, like, and trust factor. What we want to do here is use your content to convert people. So the number one conversion rule for social is when it comes to your social accounts, you have to make sure that you use your prime real estate wisely. So we're talking about banner images, we're talking about profile images, sidebars, bio areas. We're talking about all of these prime real estate areas that coaches are not utilizing to its full extent. And I'm going to give you a quick example. So my business page that I use for my Facebook. Now, I actually canned my Facebook page last year, 4,500 followers. I didn't like it anymore. It wasn't serving me. It wasn't the right people, the right tribe. So I gave away 4,500 followers in order to create a new account. And now at the moment I have 200 followers. So there's two prime real estate areas in your Facebook page that you really need to utilize a lot more. One is your profile image, and the other is your banner image that you use for your website, that you use on the image that you see straight here. So when somebody clicks on my banner image, they're going to see this description on the side. So without a doubt, the first thing that you're going to want to do right now is check, what is that banner image on my Facebook page, and does it have a really clear, concise explanation or call to action that I can put in to link back to my website, or back to a key blog post, or back to a challenge that I'm running, or back to something on my website to utilize more traction, build that SEO, build that traffic, and build the notoriety of what it is that you do. So without a doubt, making sure that you have that there is really, really important. And all you need to do is go to your banner image, click on it on your profile page, and then there's a little edit section. You can add a description. That's all you need to do. Now, when somebody clicks on my profile image, so right now I have Content Club. It's what I'm promoting at the moment. So I make that my profile image. It's what I'm currently promoting. So you can see when somebody clicks on that, there is a link to join Content Club. It also has social proof in the comments, and this is powerful. This then means that it is a social proof and testimonial, or something that gives you credibility in what it is that you're offering or what it is that you're doing. So if you can, without a doubt, try and add those into the profile section and the banner image section for your Facebook page. Okay, so let's look at your personal profile. Now, I know Facebook has a lot of controversy around when you share content on your personal page, you can potentially get your account stopped because you're sharing, mixing personal and business. There's this whole thing. Recently, Facebook have been a little bit more lenient, so you can start utilizing your banner image on your profile to create a link back to your site. It's free advertising space. Use it wisely. It doesn't have to be confrontational or in your face salesy. It just needs to be really simple so that when somebody is looking into who you are, they can quickly see what it is that you do. And then the other thing is, on the side, you can see that there is an intro section. There you will want to include anything that you do, such as your link back to your page, it's where you work, maybe a key image, all of your links to your websites, your other handles such as Skype, Instagram. This is really key, important content that you want to share on your personal page, because as much as you don't want to accept it, some coaches don't want to accept this, that their personal page is still a advertisement for their business. People are going to naturally gravitate to check you out personally before they want to do anything with you. So when somebody clicks on my personal banner image, they'll see here it's a really quick description. It's not pitching, it's just what I do. If you are a coach who needs this, then come and join me, and then the link. That's all it is. It's so, so simple. Okay, so Lisa, this is your domain, I know that, but the #1 conversion rule for blogs when it comes to your blog posts, because remember, your blog post is still your content that you want to use for the know, like, and trust factor. It's to create small links to other articles that you have for reference points. So if there is a reference point or a content piece that is highly specific to what it is that you're writing about, then cross-linking inside your website means that that person is going to stay on your site longer. It boosts your credibility to Google, and it also helps them understand more about what it is that you're offering. Also, adding in somewhere in the middle is adding in your freebie as a call to action. So this is like giving them, here is what I'm talking about, and here is a really cool, fun thing that you can get that also expands on what it is I'm talking about in this blog post. And the other thing you want to do is at the bottom or even in the middle somewhere is pitch your coaching program if it is relevant to the content piece that you are writing about, so that what happens is, or even offer a discount. So you can offer a discount specific or a discount code specific if you use an online e-commerce or checkout process that will then give them a discount on your services unique to that blog post, so that they can then use that. And the natural thing is they've got this trust factor because they've visited your blog page, they know who you are, and maybe they might want to buy from you straight away. There are people who do that. All right, so what content works? So this is like a mix of what everyone's already spoken about. So a mix of motivational content is really important. We want to constantly motivate and inspire people. We want to make sure that what we do is so valuable and living and breathing what we do every single day, that they motivate, they get out of bed, they want to do that, they get that. Even if it's just a small change, like Amy said, like even if it's just one tiny change of having a green juice today, it doesn't matter. The whole point is that you're motivating people on a daily basis in order to facilitate change in their life. And that applies to any business. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be health and wellness. It could be marketing. It could be, anything. The other thing is making sure that the content is supportive. So does it literally support somebody? Does it give them value in every, turn? If they were to scroll through my feed or my content, does it provide value and support every single time? The other thing is making sure that it is original. So not using any old piece of content. Stop sharing that content that's just like mildly relevant to your business. It's actually doing your business more harm than you realize. And making sure that it's inspiring without a doubt, because inspiration is the essence of what we do when it comes to content. It's that inspiration that builds that like and trust factor so that they do become a client at some point in their journey with you. And always connect. So stop using the words I, me, my when you're doing your post. It's not about you. It's about them. It's about making sure that they understand you can help them and you will help them. So using and changing your phrases to you and we as a collective makes it so much easier for them to understand that there's a connection point. Okay, so what content doesn't work? All right, so I kind of lightly touched on this. It's generally any one of the following: sharing content from other people's pages, from Mind Body Green or wherever you want to get it from. Utilizing that kind of content, it kind of draws people away from what it is you're doing. And don't get me wrong, you can still do that, but what it's doing is it's making them go to that place as a source of content. You want them to come to you as a source of content. And this is really, really important. If you're going to share content, make sure it is wildly relevant to what it is you're offering or what you're doing and resonates with the message that you're trying to portray. So this is where irrelevant content comes into it. You know those posts, everyone does this, I've done it. You know those posts where you post or reshare a piece of content and it's like this silly motivational, or it's this crappy image that somebody's created in Canva, but it's got a great message, and you just share it and then put a one-liner to say, do you resonate with this or what have you. I do it, I've done it before. That kind of content is not relevant. It's actually causing your business more harm because it's telling them that here is just someone else's content that, I'm content and I hope you like it. And it kind of preaches at them in a way. And that brings me down to the negative content and preaching content. When you share your negativities, it's all well and good to do that, but you need to put a positive spin on it. You need to make sure that there's this inspirational story to it. There's this learning curve to it. There's this, motivational feel that, yes, I have a challenge, and yes, I've gone through this challenge, but I have this positive spin and I've had this learning experience that makes it all the more worthwhile. So that's the kind of content that you want to share versus what you don't want to share. Here's a really quick snapshot of what we use in Content Club as a sample kind of planner for your content. And you can see it just really quickly. It's like a really beautiful mix. There's like quote posts, there's inspirational posts, there's informative posts for coaching content, free tips, there's a challenge that we throw in there every month, and then your blog post that you link back to. So like that's literally a whole month of content that you can map out in like 10, 15 minutes without any effort. But you make sure you map it out and make it purposeful. Going back to what everyone has already said on this webinar so far, utilizing all of those tips and making it purposeful with impact is going to make all the difference. Okay, so I want to just give you this quick example. Now, I don't have comments showing, by the way. So Louise, you're happy to jump in anytime and like interrupt me with comments because I will ramble on for ages. As Amy said, us Australians, we really do love to chat. We like to ramble, so jump in anytime. But essentially, remember that engaging content is useful to the follower, without a doubt. Number one rule, useful to the follower. So here is an example of Jessalyn. Hi, Jessalyn, if you're watching. She used one of our content posts from Content Club, right? And I don't mean to keep preaching Content Club, but I just want to show you because this is what I do. She used a informative post that was wildly useful to her audience, and her engagement increased substantially. Like, these are all comments that she had on that one post because she posted with purpose, with intention, with impact, and it gave the person who saw that post on Instagram this immediate connection, I think it's Facebook, immediate connection to what it is that she does, and also had, a really purposeful point to it. It was coaching content. It's like, here is a quick tip on what avocados can do for you. Here is how you prepare avocados. Here's how you pick an avocado that is the perfect ripeness. Like, there's so many things you could talk about just on an avocado alone. So making sure that you can, if you're going to talk about an avocado, talk about it, 10 times over and find all the content you can on it if it's wildly relevant to your business. And this is the kind of engagement you'll get when you do it with purpose. All right, so just to recap, remember to not sell all the time, limit it to one post a week max. As Amy said, you do need to sell, but don't sell all the time. Add a little bit of your story or your client's story to each content piece for that personal connection. Don't share any old content you come across. Please stop that. It is really going to harm your business. Stop sharing content and linking back to other people. If you really want to share content and link back to other people, create a blog post that is 200, 300 words long that has your take on that particular post and link back to that post. Because then what's happening is your traffic, as Lisa can, kind of contest to this, your blog post traffic is going to go to that blog post, but they, as a company, can see all that traffic coming from your website, and they might even shout you out back, right? If they've got tons of followers, they might shout you out back. And then ask yourself before you post anything, does this content positively serve my audience? If you ask yourself that question before you post anything, without a doubt, it's going to make a big impact to what you do. So I'm going to give you guys some free content. It's coming your way as part. Don't share the link just yet, Louise. I'm share it at the end. Don't share it. So the content I'm going to give you 20 social media images that we've designed. It's one of the most popular ones downloaded inside Content Club. It's in this beautiful silver design that will complement any branding that you have. And then we're going to give you a hydration challenge. It's a 4-day challenge that has 6 posts. It's like 2,000 words long, where you share posts each day to get people to drink more water, be more hydrated, because we all know hydration is the biggest killer. Dehydration is the start of all disease, and start of frustration and anger and all of these issues that people face on a daily basis. So I've given you the hydration challenge for free, and you'll get the link at the end. Okay, so let's talk websites. How am I going for time, Louise? Yeah, okay, good. So let's talk websites. I want to talk about what websites should do for you, because your website doesn't just need to be this conversion tool. A lot of coaches come to me and say, I just want a website for a pamphlet or a brochure for my business. And that's totally fine. You can do that. Some coaches don't want to focus on their website. They want to focus just on social media. They just want to get a social proof, or build that trust factor that you are legitimate. You do exist, right? And then you can go deeper into the conversion side of things, where you get more subscribers, you get more clients, you get seen utilizing the SEO. And then what I want to do quickly is just talk about the proof website, because the social proof website essentially has 2 functionalities. It's like contact you, or book in a free time to chat, or download a free gift. And this is a really classic example. One of our clients on the template websites, they wanted just a social proof website. So here you'll see it's just a really quick opt-in, right? The first thing that you see, and then below that is going to be on her site is a call to action to then go and book in a free session. So it's like the perfect example. If you want to have just a pamphlet or a brochure for your business, there's no problem in that. You don't have to blog if you don't want to. And as we've all said so far throughout the webinar, you choose what you want to capitalize on your strengths. So if you want to blog, great, focus on that. If you don't do it. There are no rules here. It's only what you feel is comfortable for your business. Then there's the conversion website, and it factors in a lot of the the free stuff. So contact you, book a time to chat, download a free gift, but it also has sign up to a free challenge, pay for your coaching programs, purchase your book if you've written one. It's exchanging something for, for what it is that you're doing. So whether it be an email address or a monetary payment, it doesn't matter. The whole point is you're converting them or getting them to do something. And even just clicking through different pages of your website is a form of conversion, because they're staying longer and they want to know more about you. And if that's the case, then you're winning. If you're finding in your Google Analytics that you have a average page visit of, say, 5 minutes, that's a fantastic thing. It means that your content or what you've written about is wildly useful and beneficial to your audience. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the layout and what you need to do for your free offer. So I'm just going to quickly run through the pages, the key pages for conversion on your website. So where possible, you always want to have above the fold, so the first thing that you see that when somebody lands on your site, it should be the free offer. Now, some coaches don't do this, and that's because they want to have more of an informational based site, and that's totally fine. If your goal isn't conversion, then ignore this. But if your goal is conversion and you really want to build that notoriety online and build that mailing list, then you want to do this. So what it is like the first thing you see, just like on Kara's Life Coaching that we designed, she focuses on, making sure that you start living a life that's more. And here you can quickly see, without a doubt, what it is that she offers. So it's stress less, so you can start living life more. Now, that's above the fold. The other way is below the fold. So it's like the first thing that you see, but then just below that, it's still there. The free ebook is still there for people to sign up. It's like the first thing that they see when they scroll. And that's what's really important here is, if your goal is a conversion-based site, then having that free opt-in at the beginning is super important to build that subscribe list. The free session and contact should always be clear and structured in a way that has no misunderstandings and lots of white space. So I've taken this from Gracianne's website that we designed, JP Health and Wellness. Now, hi Gracianne, if you're watching. She helps people with cancer diagnosis. So she's a health coach who helps people kind of get through the next stage of their life after diagnosis or even after chemo. And so you can see here, this is the bottom of the page on the home page. It's a quick snapshot of, hey, how about you schedule this no obligation call? It has lots of white space. The button is a different color deliberately to make it a point of contact and a point of the next step to follow. And below that is a second form of call to action, which is the ebook. So it's kind of like, take your pick, person. When you've landed on my site, at the bottom, take your pick as to what you want to do. So the other thing is testimonials. It builds that trust factor and social proof. But I like to think of it as, it needs to have one of three things. You need to have a headshot, if possible, without a doubt. That's the number one thing. If you can't get that, a visual clue. And if you can't get that, then lots of white space. So white space around that testimonial is going to help make it impactful, so it's not lost amongst all of the content that you have on your site. So here is an example of Martine's site that we haven't yet launched. So Martine, I'm sorry if you didn't want me to share this, but I am. It's on the bottom of one of her sales pages on the Work With Me page. She has this beautiful call to action, a testimonial that has an icon that's really prominent so that it shows that it is a testimonial and it grabs people's attention. And there's also lots of white space. So utilizing that area is really important. Now, a really quick tip for anyone who doesn't have clients, because I know a lot of you are just starting out, what you can do is on your discovery calls. So if you're having a chat with somebody, on those discovery calls at the end, say to someone, can I ask you another question? One final question. Did you get benefit out of this today? If you could explain in one sentence what you took from it, I would love to know, and quickly jot down their response. What that's going to do is give you really impactful information about what they got from that session, and you can quote that. You don't necessarily have to use their name, but you can quote that and use that as a form of testimony for your business. Okay, the sign-up page should have 4 basic elements: a bold statement, bullet points on inclusions, a visual clue on what they get, and a clear call to action. Without a doubt, even your free sign-up page, your paid programs, it doesn't matter. These are the 4 basic elements that you need for the boosted conversions. So my old friend and client, Nikki Spagnolo, we have this, is one of her freebies on her site. So she has this 7 minutes to a beautiful butt guide, which is awesome. And you can see at the top, it is a really clear, bold statement. So secretly wishing you had a butt you could show off. It has the 3 bullet points, it has a visual clue, and then a really clear call to action to get a beautiful butt today for them to sign up. So you can see that this is actually a really classic layout for a freebie or an opt-in, but it works every single time. So making sure you have those, those 4 points are really, really important. Here's an example again on Martine's site where we've used it in the middle of the page as people scroll on the home page. And while it doesn't have the bullet points, it has all of the other factors that make it important for somebody to understand that if I'm going to sign up to this newsletter, I can get this free thing. How cool is that? So that's why bullet points, when you are doing a sign up to a newsletter, isn't as important. Bullet points don't matter here. If you're just using hey, sign up to my newsletter, here's a free gift, then all you want to do is focus on that free gift and making it clear that they are signing up to your newsletter in exchange for that gift. All right, so when it comes to your call to actions, you need to make sure that they are bright, There's lots of white space and they're easy to see as a natural next step. I've seen too many coaches with websites who have these buttons that are hidden, or, you know, they are transparent over an image and they're so hard to see. It's like, I don't have that next step feel. Like if I'm on that site, I don't know where to go next. And so I think it's too hard and I click away. That's what happens, right? So you want to make sure that it's really, really clear and concise and bright colors. Second to that is having a natural flow to the content. And this is going on what Lisa said, you know, your content pages are the most important parts of your website. And that's why having your home page as a snapshot of what is all on your site is super important here. You want to take bits and pieces of all of the key things on your site and putting it on the home page, and not having this huge, long, you know, essay style homepage that's full of your life story and full of how you help people and all of that stuff. It's not what the homepage is about. Your homepage is about building that quick snapshot of all the things that you do for somebody, so that when they are skimming and scrolling, they can quickly see what you offer and click on the thing that matters most to them. Okay, so remember these key points. Your content is your way to build know, like, and trust, the notoriety, the engagement, to boost, you know, the interest that you're doing online. And then your website is your natural conversion tool to book in that free session, to, you know, read that blog post, to sign up to your newsletter, to download the free gift, to become a client. No matter what it is that you're doing to use as a conversion tool, your website should always do that. And you can still do that with a brochure website, right? It's a matter of using your social and your content as a form of trust to then get that conversion online. So I'm giving you guys a free website today. I kid you not, a free website. So you're all going to get access to a free website. It's my DIY website that we didn't have available towards the end of last year because of technical glitch. There was a plugin that wasn't available anymore, but it's available now, and we are going to give you a free website so that you can have an optimized website and content. So you're giving you content and a website so that you have the perfect combination to literally make strides online without any hitches and without any problems, utilizing everything we've given you today, you know, from Madeline to Lisa, Amy, and what Louisa's got coming up next. You are going to have the perfect combination to build that awesome business online. So that's it from me.
Wow, that was amazing. Can I put the link in now?
Awesome.
Can I put the link in the comments?
Yes, of course.
There we go. So I've just put the link in to get the bundle that Kylie's giving. So a free website and content. Amazing. Because I tell you what, the content piece is such a massive part of having a business, and it can feel like such a homework. And so if you're coming from a place of service, but if you're getting content that you can just, you know, copy and paste, it makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, I'm actually just having a look at the comments. Do you mind if I answer some of the comments really quickly?
No, of course.
Oh, wow, there's a lot. Okay. I'm just trying to go back.
There was one.
Yeah.
There was one from WN2 blah 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 blah. Can video testimonials work?
Yeah, of course. But making sure that it's not lost, and making sure it's in the right place on your site, right? There's no point in chucking or throwing in a video testimonial in a section of your site that has no relevance. So video testimonials work well on sales pages. It's like that extra oomph and that extra social proof that what you're doing actually works. So it's best when you're trying to convert people. It's generally not a really good use of it when it's just, you know, put on the homepage or something like that. Unless it's a very clear way of, maybe you, on your homepage, you have your coaching program that you're running, or a challenge that you're running, right, as a big call to action. Beneath that, perhaps the video testimonial, but try and put it on a sales page where possible. What else have we got?
I think somebody said that they were doing their website. Who was that?
Okay. So running the blog post, make sure you put in all those links. Collection of testimonials on your discovery calls is super important, because you can just use, like, especially on social media, you can take like a sentence of that, create an image from it, and that's like instant social proof, right? You can just use that as a way to boost your business and notoriety. Okay, great. No other questions. Awesome.
I have a couple.
Okay.
Of course. So I know you said don't post other people's content, but sometimes if you're not a member of the Content Club, one of the kind of the quick and easy ways it feels like to post content on social media is to just, copy a blog post from Mind Body Green or from another website. Would you advise against doing that completely, or if you limit it, like what proportion of your whole post should it be? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I'm not saying don't do it, but what I'm saying is coaches have a tendency to use that as a way to fill in content, right? And naturally what happens is if you do it once a week, you start doing it a couple of times a week, and then before you know it, you're sharing other people's content and not actually doing anything for your business, right? So I think try and limit it to one a week if you can. Maybe it's the day that you're posting it, you have an image. So what happens is when you share a blog post from someone else's blog, the image comes up, the URL comes up, right? You can see all of that. But if you add an image first, your own image, and then put the link, what that's going to do is it's going to put your content first so that they can see that, okay, this person is sharing something, they have got their own take on it, and here is a link to support what I'm saying, right?
What an amazing tip. Add your own image first and then add the link.
Then share. Exactly.
That is a fantastic tip. And also, could you give us, what's your experience in terms of, like, thinking about a client who's come to you and their website has, it's been really cluttered or it's been really messy and it's not very clear. What kind of difference have they seen in their business once they've, taken on one of your beautiful designs and have really streamlined it and made it much more simple? What kind of impact has that had on them?
It's it's funny. There's such a varied array of feedback that we get. Like, a large part of it actually is giving them a clear message again. So it's kind of like a lot of my clients on the bespoke package actually don't have a website yet. So we have this beautiful clean slate to start off from. And it's funny, the people who have a website usually go for the template designs. So the template designs kind of give them a refresh and a restart on their business that they've kind of been fumbling with all of this time. And we've all done it. We've thrown content up on our site. We've changed it every week. We've changed focus, and then all of a sudden we decide that we want to add in a sentence here, and it becomes this huge thing that's evolved into mess, essentially. So a lot of the time it's like giving them back this clear space, right? Clear message, clear space with very clear call to actions, so that it is conversion based, and learning the fact that your website isn't there just your website alone won't get you clients. It's you focusing on some sort of marketing effort, because while we don't want to believe it, social media is marketing. Focusing on that marketing effort and using your website as the natural conversion, so that it's optimized in the design to naturally convert, as opposed to clicking, getting there, clicking away. That's what it's given them, essentially.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Kylie. That was amazing.
No problem.
Slightly nervous to follow with some slides because they are not a patch on your beautiful, beautiful slides. But I'll do it.
I'm a designer.
I should have sent you my slides first. Make them pretty. But the content's there. They're just not quite so swish. Okay, cool. Right. We're going to break again for 5 minutes. So we can all, get a drink. And so it's 14 minutes past. So if we come back at 19 minutes past, then it's going to be me. I'm going to be talking about my 3-layer framework to market and promote your business. And then after that, it's going to be Q&A. So 5 minutes and we shall see you then. Right, welcome back, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Lisa, can you hear me? Awesome, fabulous, right. Wow, we're on our last hour, which is now 40 minutes, so I'm going to be super quick with my presentation. And I'm going to hand over, rather than me introduce myself, which is a bit weird, Lisa is going to give you a bit of an introduction into me and what I'm going to be talking about. A second, let me unmute you. A second, unmute Lisa. Oh no, tech.
You know what? I think we're both doing it at the same time.
Oh no. There we go, it's done. It's done.
Sorry. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so it is my pleasure to welcome our actual host, Louise. So Louise has over a decade's experience in marketing, 10 of which have been in health and wellness. She has spent 6 years working as a marketing and communications manager at a private hospital company where she ran marketing campaigns for the whole company, but she also worked with hospitals and promoted specific services. Her role there encompassed a lot of different skills, including events, dealing with journalists, corporate communications, and promotions and advertising and marketing stuff. So now she works, she works with health and wellness business owners to help them with their marketing and promotion so they can increase their visibility, raise awareness of the services, and get more clients and patients through the door. Louise is going to be talking, which I'm really excited, about 3-layer marketing framework to grow your business and why getting the fundamentals in place is crucial before going all in with your promotions. Louise.
Awesome, thank you, Lisa. Okay, right. I'm afraid I've got slides too, so I will share my screen. Hang on a second. Let me just check how to do this. There we go. Is it showing? Can you see it okay? Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, right. So quickly, I'm going to rush through this quickly. So Madeleine said that she spoke quickly. I think I'm going to be doing the same. Right. So who am I? We've had the introduction. There's my picture. This is what I look like. This is my this is my family. Just to give you a bit of background. I'm not going to dwell on my children. You know, nobody else's children are as interesting as your own. But yeah, they were my other half, and I've got 2 little boys. So why do you need a framework? So as we've all said this evening, that what we want to do is make your life much, much easier. So it gives you an easy to follow strategy. It helps you know what to do and when, and it makes your life much easier. And we all want more of that. So before you do any sort of marketing, before you update anything on your website, before you use Kylie's amazing templates, before you, do your SEO, before you do any of the stuff, what you need to have in place before you do anything is you need to know who you're targeting. You need to know who your audience is. Who is your ideal customer? You need to know what your message is to that ideal customer. And you need to know what you are selling. So for example, if you are an osteopath, then you may well be doing, the majority of your treatment will be for helping people with lower back pain. And when thinking about your ideal customer, you will probably have more than one type of person who comes in to see you. And that's brilliant. So when you're doing this, start off with the one that brings you in the most money, that's your most popular service. So think about who you're targeting. So as I said, an osteopath, you'll be treating lower back pain, mostly probably people who are aged between 30 to 60, who work in an office, who spend 8 hours sat at their desk, hunching over their desk like this, and just experiencing pain. And your message to them is about how you help alleviate that pain and what you do to help it and how you can help them get better. But what you're really selling, and this is true for everyone, what you're really selling is how they're going to feel once their treatment has finished. So it isn't just about the fluffy towels or the soft yoga mats or the hall that you're in or the venue that you have, or even like all the amazing qualifications that you have. It's about how that person is going to feel after they've had your treatment. So for the back pain, it could be something along the lines of, you want to get back to being active again, remember a time when you didn't have your back pain and you can, you want to go and play with the kids, you want to be active, you want to stop being in pain, then come and see me and I can help you. So it's all about how somebody's going to feel after they've seen you. So once you've got all that sorted, then you can move on to what I've developed as my 3-layer framework for marketing and promoting your business. So there's 4 fundamentals that you want to get in place, which is, funnily enough, covering a lot of what we've spoken about today. And then moving into your attraction phase, so that's when you can, really kind of start to put yourself out there. And there's a lot of tactics there that we've not already mentioned. And then once you've done that, it's about retaining those people and getting more business from those ones you already have and getting them to refer you so that they bring in their friends and family. So first, the fundamentals. Number 1, social media. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we've already had some amazing information this evening. So Amy said pick 2. I say start with 1, find your feet, and then work your way up from there. There's some ideas on what to post here, but it's all very self-explanatory. And I'm going to share the slides at the end of my freebie, so you don't have to write. If you can't write these all down quick enough, don't worry, you can get a copy of the slides. Number 2, your website. As Kylie has said, make it about who you serve. It's about them, how you help, your ideal customer. It's not about I, me. It's about you, we. Showcase your brilliance. Again, testimonials is a great way to do that. Update it regularly, like Lisa said, with your blogs and running your SEO through it, and use it to generate leads and inquiries. Email, we've not really spoken much about that today, but what I would suggest is that you send emails, ideally weekly if you can. They don't have to be long. They don't have to be this big long newsletter with umpteen links and articles and tips and videos. They can just be, they can just be pretty short. It can just contain 1 tip. It can contain, and then a call to action. Be generous, give information freely, give your knowledge freely, because whatever you give on email is absolutely not going to replicate what you can give in a consultation or in a class or anything like that. So, give what you can freely. And don't forget to say how people can work with you, because as with social media, it's so easy just to be posting, a tip here, a link here, an image here, without actually saying, come and work with me, I can help you, this is how I can help you, call me, make an appointment online, contact me via Messenger, give that information about how people can help, about how people can work with you. So what to put in your emails? Again, there's lots of information here about what you can put in, testimonials. You can promote other businesses. This is a good one, actually, and I use this with one of my clients. You can tie up with another local business and you can put them in your email. We do that with one of my clients. We do a shout of the month, and so it helps that local business get visibility in front of your audience. And often they will want to do the same for you. So then you'll get your profile in front of their audience, and it's a really great way of getting to know other local businesses, because we're all in this together. And it's a great way of kind of widening your market and finding a new audience that's in your locality. Because the other thing is, a lot of if you're running a health and wellness business, a lot of what you'll be doing will be local marketing. So it's getting people physically in through your door. And another thing you want to do is put your business on Google. So go to Google My Business. It's free to set up, and I don't think it takes that long, but have your business on Google Maps, because again, that's probably one of the 200 things that Lisa says helps your business to rank. I'm hoping so. I hope it's one of the 200. And again, that will really help you on Google. When people are searching for, yoga classes in Leicester or, health coach in Minnesota, then this will really, this really helps with that. So once you've done all those are your fundamentals. And in fact, actually, a lot of people just stick with those and do very well and can really build a business just doing that. But if you feel you've got all those running, they're all running smoothly, they're underway, they're ticking along, and you feel like, right, okay, now it's time for me to really build on this and start, getting more clients in through the door and building my visibility, then there's a number of other things that you can do. So this is when you can start attracting people into your world. So this is about promoting yourself and getting yourself out there and raising your profile so that people can see the impact that you have on your clients. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is one that not many people think about, and that is about getting press coverage for your business in your local media. So when thinking about media, it's things like newspapers, local magazines, local radio, and local websites. Now, these are still a really good way to reach a local audience that you might not reach otherwise. And there are a lot of benefits to getting media coverage. It positions you as an expert, as someone will be writing about you, and it gives you instant credibility that you might not get otherwise, particularly if you're starting out. It helps you reach a new audience, and you can also recycle that content across your other marketing. So if you do get featured in your local paper or your local magazine, you can use that and put that in your email, you can put that on your social media, you can put it on your website, so you don't have to keep, trying to think of new things all the time. You can recycle it and use it across your other media. It helps kind of give you a credibility that you might not get just through running an advert where you say, "Hi, I'm great, I can help you lose weight." And if you get coverage in the local press, it gives you a bit more credibility. So what makes a story? So if you're thinking about contacting your local media, what is a journalist looking for? So the first thing is, think about if it's topical. So if you look through your newspaper today, if you look at online, you look at a news website, obviously everything in there is topical. So it's what you want to talk about topical. Is it relevant to their readership and the audience that reads or listens to or watches your local media? Is it unusual or different? So say, for example, if you have recently, been working with Kylie and you published a new website, that is amazing. And I know that a lot of work and effort has gone into that, but that's not unusual and it won't make a story for your local press. So it has to be different. It has to be something that they might not have heard of otherwise. Human interest. What journalists love is stories. And this has come up a few times tonight about giving stories on your social media and testimonials. If you have a testimonial or a client who is happy to share their story about how you transformed their lives and how you've taken them from A to B, then write that up with a photo and you can send that out to the local media, and a lot of them will take you up on it. We used to do this all the time in my old company. I remember an example of, we had a lady who had treatment for varicose veins and she was in a lot of pain, but then she got them treated, and then after that she ran a marathon. So it's about taking people who have had a transformation. If it's if they've seen something really exceptional, then it's great. If it's just I was unhealthy, now I'm healthy, not that great. What impact has it had on their health? What difference has it made to them? How has it affected their children and their family? Really, really add to that. And the other thing that journalists love is trouble. So when things go wrong, they love that stuff. And I'm hoping none of you will have that, and I'm sure you won't. So if you're thinking about what you might be able to send to your local media, concentrate on those four. And if you can get 2 or 3 of those 4, then you should be onto a winner. So thinking about the sort of things that you could pitch to your local paper. So it could be something like a milestone if you've got your 100th customer, your 100th class, your 1,000th day in business, those sort of things. They love that. If you've got any statistics or surveys, if you've done a survey of your clients and 96% have found that such and such has happened, then again, they love that, because again, that's new. Testimonials, as I've said, if you have any clients who are happy to share their story, then that can really help. And health weeks and events can be a really easy way to get media coverage. So there are health weeks and events all the time, and they're pretty easy to find. There are various websites that have them listed. So, like January was all about being, it's a bit of a tongue twister, Veganuary. So it's all about going vegan in January. And if you're a health coach, then you can jump on the back of that and talk about how you're supporting your clients throughout that month. If you're running an event in that month, then you can, again, jump on the back of the health week. We used to do this all the time, and it does work. If you're not comfortable pitching and you just want to see perhaps what journalists are after, you can go into Twitter and look under #journalrequest, and here you will find what journalists are searching for. So they'll be writing a story and they'll need some content, or they might need an opinion about what they're writing about. So for example, this was last week, and I just did a quick search, and this one said they were looking for experts and statistics on why wellness tourism retreats are on the rise and about wellness tourism trends. So Amy, it should have been one for you with your Thailand retreat. So yeah, so there's a good way of finding out what journalists are wanting, and it's also, you might stand a good chance of getting quoted because you already know what they're looking for. I think in the US and Canada there's one called Help a Reporter Out, where again reporters will say what they're looking for a story. So it's a good way of getting some media coverage. Right, another thing you can do is give talks. So you can give talks to local groups and clubs. So there might be like local women's institutes, other local groups where you can give a demonstration, you could give a talk, you could do a Q&A, you can do all sorts of things to help promote you and your business in front of people. So it's a really good way also of them getting to know you and what you can do. You can also set up a talk yourself and promote that. So if you want to book a local hall somewhere, if you want to run an evening of an hour, say 20 minutes of a presentation followed by a Q&A, and then promote that. That's another way of doing it, but it's a good way of getting yourself out face to face in your local area and getting, helping people get to know you and what you do. Joint ventures, I mentioned this in the emails. So you can work with other local businesses, and it doesn't mean that if you're a yoga practice, you work with another yoga practice. It could be that if you're yoga practice, then maybe you want to work with a local massage therapist or something where you can collaborate, you could provide posts for each other's social media, you could provide content to be in each other's emails, and you could even run an event together. So there's lots of ways that you can work with other local businesses to kind of raise your profile and raise theirs and tap into each other's audiences. Flyers. Now, I feel like such an old person talking about flyers because it feels a bit old hat, but they can really work. So it doesn't cost much to draft up a flyer, get it designed and printed, and then you can put them up in your local area, on local notice boards, in local coffee shops, and you can also do a jaw drop. I know in the UK, the Royal Mail do it, and there are various other companies that do it, where you can specify what kind of clients it is that you're hoping to reach, and they will know which postcode sectors is where that kind of person lives, and they will drop your flyers into those houses. So it's a good way of, again, getting yourself through the door. So once you've done those options for the attraction phase, there's obviously so many things you can do, but these are the ones that I thought would be the kind of most relevant for building a local business. And then once you've got that and you've got people coming through the door regularly, then you want to build on that, and you want to encourage word of mouth, and you want to encourage clients to come back and have repeat visits. So one of the things that's really important is reviews. So you want to encourage your happy clients, because all your clients are going to be happy, to put reviews for you on your Google listing. Again, this will really help with your appearing in Google, but it also helps differentiate you from the competition. So if you're a chiropractor and there are 2 chiropractors in the local area, and you're the one with 20 reviews and the other one's got 2, then if somebody's looking at that and they're going to see all these 20 glowing reviews, you're going to be the one who gets chosen over the guy that's only got 2. So again, really encourage and ask your clients to leave you reviews. You can also leave your reviews on Facebook. Again, social proof is so important. And as Kylie said, you can type up just a couple of sentences, put it in Canva, and use that on your social media. Loyalty. So what do you do? Is there anything that anyone does, actually? A question for the chat. Does anyone do any loyalty schemes? Do you do anything to encourage people to come back to you, to encourage repeat visits? Do you offer a discount if they sign up for a set number of sessions? Do you offer money off each time they come? Is it if they stamps, if they come, they come 10 times, is the 10th one free? There's all sorts of different ways of doing loyalty schemes. But it's a good way of getting people to come back through the door, because they know if they come in for that 5th visit and it's going to get them a half price treatment, then they'll work their way up to 1, 2, 3, 4 to come to number 5. Refer a friend as well is really popular, especially in hair and beauty. Hairdressers use it all the time, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be either. So if you have, happy clients, run a refer a friend scheme where they are happy to refer their friends to you. So one client I have, she has a scheme where when somebody comes to their appointment, if they mention the name of their friend, a friend then gets a £25 shopping voucher. So there's different ways you can do it. Have a think about how it might work. But yeah, refer a friend can really help, get your clients to do your promoting for you. Awards. Now, this is the one that I would kind of leave to last until you've got a lot of things set up. But awards are a really good way to, again, differentiate you from the competition. And you can also use it across your marketing. So you can, if you get shortlisted for an award, you can put that on your website, put it in your emails, put it on your social media. And again, it helps you stand out. And there's all sorts of different awards that you can enter. So it can be health and wellness awards. It could be local business awards. It could be mumpreneur awards. It could be new business awards. It could be small business awards. There's all sorts of different awards that you can do. I would only recommend doing this if you're kind of been up and running for a few years, you've got all your systems down running smoothly, but it is something that you can consider. And then once you've got everything done, then you want to start looking at batching. So this is when, like Kylie's Content Club, getting everything all plotted out and sorted and written in one day or over a week. So everything's done for whatever, for the month or for the quarter. So if you write a weekly blog, see if you can dedicate the time to an afternoon to write, 4 blogs in one afternoon, and then you don't have to think about it for the rest of the month. Or your social media posts, you do them in an afternoon, and then you've got it done for the month. And same with your emails. If you can batch those, then it's a massive time saver. I have heard there are some people online who batch their content for the year. So they spend like a day, however, it's not going to be a day, it's going to be longer than that. But the time plotting out 52 videos that they will then be sending out each week in their emails, and then they go to, they go and they record those 52 emails, and then they're all done. So I suspect that will take at least 2 weeks, a week or two. But then for the next 50 weeks, they're not thinking about it. So if you can batch and do all your stuff together, you'll save yourself a lot of time. So, free stuff from me. I've got you. If you go to that link, and I'll put it in the chat. There's a free ebook about kind of earning more leads with your blog. So a lot of it builds on what Lisa said, but it also contains information about kind of repurposing the information that's in your blog and how you can promote what's in your blog. Because once you've written it, that's kind of really half the job, and then you've got to promote it and get those leads coming into your website. And also about guest blogging, which is another good way to kind of raise your profile and get more people into your world. And I'm also giving you a copy of these slides. So if there's kind of information in here that you've not been able to capture quickly, then they're there for you. And that's me. Right, let me just pop this link. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Amy. Cool. Right, so we've all spoken. Shall we crack on with some Q&A, or does anyone want to chat about what we've spoken over the last hour and a half?
I'm up for questions.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go Q&A.
Okay, cool. So,
sorry, Louise, I have to interrupt because we need to ask you some questions about your content. You did that for us, and I really want to celebrate the fact that you brought in some. We can all get so distracted with bright, shiny objects, and one of the things that you did so beautifully was to remind us about some of those really powerful classic methods to get our work out there in the world. And so thanks for that. Like talking about flyers, they've been around for longer, but they're very powerful. The chat was going off about some of those points that you made. So thanks for reminding us that getting in the newspaper or getting on radio or having a local TV spot are still really great things to be doing. And I think Crystal posted in the chat, now that she's got one particular piece of content that was more new media, she can use it across a whole bunch of other things as well. I thought that was a great point.
Awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things that not many people think about, and local media love good stories from local businesses because they don't get very much of it. So if you have an interesting story, if you have a photo, So, for example, you're celebrating your 1,000th day in business. Take a photo of you and your team with some balloons and a glass of champagne, or sparkling water, whatever. Then everyone's healthy. Then that will serve you well, and you stand a good chance of getting coverage. There's no guarantee with media coverage, but I think if you give it a go and you give interesting stories, then you stand a pretty decent chance. Okay, questions. So we had a few questions before the live stream. So I'll do those ones first. So Janoon said, how do you know what is too much content to share in free groups and emails and posts, etc.? And does it take away from your paid program? So I think there it's about, giving generously versus giving it all away for free.
Yeah, I would say I always just share the what. So what is it, but not necessarily the how. The how is what I really kind of share inside my programs and in other places. So if you can share just the what needs to happen, what are the changes, that really helps people to kind of get the paradigm around what it is that you're talking about. That's my little.
Yeah, that's so true. It's almost like, I think putting it into context for health and wellness professionals, it's like share the what of the steps. So we all know, okay, you need to have a green smoothie. So if you're running a green smoothie challenge as a paid challenge, you say, yes, you need to have a green smoothie a day, but I'm not going to show you how unless you join. And this is the tips that I'm going to give you for your greatest success. And that's the how, right?
Awesome. I think I have a slightly different take on it, if I may. I share heaps, a lot of content, a lot of free, because I think that even though I try and make it as relevant as possible to my audience, it can never be completely specific to that one individual. So I could teach my heart out, and we all have for 3 hours on all of this stuff, but there could be someone watching who needs to actually be with Carly one-to-one to really hone it for what it is that she's working on. So even if we gave all the hows, there's still so much power in having that personalized contact. I don't think you can't do that by sharing broadly. So I think I'm a fan of like give with love all the time, and know that no matter how specific it gets, it can never be perfectly tailored to everybody in the audience because we're all so beautifully diverse.
Good point. Okay. Chris has asked, please talk about what's working today on social media and the best strategies for 2019. Is a webinar the first go-to tool versus a roadmap through email communication and then a webinar? So what is not working? What's not working now? Are some of the current marketing strategies needing a rethink? So I think we've covered some of that already, but has anyone kind of got any thoughts about kind of what did work a few years ago and is not working now?
I think it's always evolving. That's the problem. Like when you look at marketing or anything to do with business, you've got to remember that even things that worked 20 years ago and then didn't work suddenly can still work today. Like we're talking about the direct marketing, the DMs where you do the flyers, that was the only form of media and marketing your business many years ago, yet still today it's used, but it's underused and undervalued, right? So I don't think that there is any right or wrong answer. And even for marketing trends, there's all these, bright and shiny gurus out there that tell you that this is what you need to be doing and this is how you should build your business for 2019 and this is exactly what is going to get you progress. But the reality is each and every one of us are so unique in our business that it's probably not going to apply to us a lot of the time. We have to take from it what we feel is the right tactic to use, what feels comfortable with us, and utilize that for our audience. So for me personally, I don't believe in following any marketing strategies because of that reason. And a lot of you may have your own opinions, but that's my personal opinion.
I think a lot of it as well is trial and error. So it was mentioned in the chat earlier about you just have to give things a go and see what happens. Sometimes things fly and sometimes things bomb. And you don't know until you try. And what might work for somebody else, as Madeline said, what works for somebody else might not work for you, and vice versa. So it is a lot of kind of testing and trial and error and see what works for you. Okay.
Yeah, and I think when you're just starting out, it's really about getting eyeballs on your offer and just getting eyeballs on who you are. And, they say it takes 18 touches now to build a know, like, and trust factor to get somebody actually interested in your offers. And I think in that sense, I think social media and search engine optimization and content creation is king out there to really get your content and who you are in front of people. And I think it's about quantity, but it's also about quality. So I built a really successful business with a very small following that's very loyal to me, and very quickly in a couple of, because this is my 5th business. So but you can do that. You don't have to have thousands and thousands of people following you in order to be successful.
I agree.
It's about building a relationship more than anything. Marketing is not about selling as much as it is about building relationships and loving your people up.
Absolutely, Madeline. You know what's funny is I've always said that to my tribe. It's all around, coaches come to any one of us who are experts in what we do for, serving health and wellness professionals. And the number one thing that comes up so often is that I just want to get, 1,000 followers, or I just want to get this, and it's all about the numbers. But the reality is, I personally, which is why I trashed my page of 4,500 followers, I'd much rather have 200 followers who are wildly engaged in what I have to offer, and then 4,500 followers who are literally giving me crickets. And that, to me, is so much more valuable.
I love that. I also think that if there were 2 things that I think don't work anymore, or 2 things that I think that are re-emerging, one is being real and authentic, particularly with things like images. I think people are fatigued with looking at hyper, touched up images and people who don't really look like people anymore. And this is not just me giving a Tinder analogy, but, I do think that people want to see real people on your social media. I also think the other thing that's re-emerging is people want to get in a room with you. I love, Louise, that you talked about, book a hall and put on an evening, have a cup of tea at the end, talk to people. I think because of the nature of the prolific nature of social media content now, there's something incredibly powerful about just going and hanging out. Siobhan and I just, I go to Dublin every year. We can just hang out and talk about stuff. I think, that's powerful, being in a room with people. Don't undervalue 8 people in a room having an important conversation can be so much more powerful for your business development than having, however many shares and likes on a Facebook post.
Yeah, love it. Now, Megan, if Megan is here, I would love you to give a bit more info, because you said what should the front page of a brochure say? Megan, ooh. I know it's a bit of a vague question, Megan. I'd love a bit more detail. So I'd love kind of what your business is and who it is you're targeting. So, and what your message is. So think about those kind of fundamentals that I said at the beginning of my talk about who your audience is, and what your message is to them, and what you're really selling, about how you want them to feel after they've seen you. I'd love to give you more info, but I don't know many more about anything else about your business.
Yeah, so I can say something about what to put in anywhere, really. I think there's really 3 different kinds of clients, and I think for the most part, most entrepreneurs and doctors and healers are only really catering to one type of client, and those are the people that are ready to buy now. People who are like, how do you give that one offer? Hey, come in and talk to me, come in for a free visit. And you only focus on the people that are ready to buy now. And for the most part, that's like 1 to 3% of the people that you're in front of, especially on social media and online. And so you need to build that know, like, and trust factor. You need a way to warming those clients up from skeptical to curious to committed. And you need a clear way of doing that. So you need to have 3 different offers. You need to have an offer for the skeptical people. That's usually your freebie, your lead magnet, a way of kind of building that, getting on your email so you can build that know, like, and trust factor. You need to have an offer for your curious people who are not quite ready, that kind of know you and like you, but they're not quite trusting you enough to buy something yet. So they are great to put on an educational platform like a webinar, or invite them to a live workshop, or some way of connecting with them where you can build that trust factor and also make that conversion. Right? So that's really what I call, you want to make the offer for the curious people. It's your conversion vehicle. How do you actually invite them in? And then your hot is really, hey, I'm ready to buy now, right? So that's just your regular package. You guys all got that, solid. But just think about that. If you don't have something for the curious and the skeptical, you're literally leaving 97% of the people you connect with out in the marketing, what you're doing, because you're just walking away from them and they don't have a place to meet you or connect with you and learn more about you to build that know, like, and trust factor.
Very, very true, Madeline. That was good. That was good. Okay. Another question. Amy Hammond says she is she's struggling with she has a full-time sales job and she's also building an online life and health coaching practice. Her true passion is coaching, and it's also the career that will give her the most freedom to move and live where she wants to be. How long do you think is realistic to getting her income to 6 figures for her coaching practice? What are the ways to get things off the ground while also balancing a full-time job? So often she feels like she's running in circles, so I'm not surprised.
Oh, everyone's being standoffish about answering.
No, like it was that one.
So, I mean, I just feel like I talked so much, but I'll just share a really quick story. So my husband's a musician, and we were at a music festival in Big Sur, and we were hanging out with some really well-known touring musicians that tour all over the world and do their thing. And so we were sitting there picking their brain, and we asked, so what does it take to become a well-known musician, be able to like pay your bills, play music, which is like my husband's dream, right? And the guy looks and says, well, the very first thing you need to do is quit your day job. And that has just always stuck with me. And I think, as an entrepreneur, I feel like it's kind of like jumping out of a 20-story building and building a plane on the way down, right? It's a little bit of that going on when you're an entrepreneur. But I think you have to be all in. You can't have a plan B, because things that are not going to work. And, like I said, successful people do it anyway. You just kind of have to go for it, and you have to be all in. And you're going to have ups and downs, and it's not as, success is like this for sure. And you just going to have to stay the course and be 100% committed. That's my best advice. How's that?
I agree. No, I agree with you 100%. It's funny because, coaches do their website because they've got a full-time job and they're doing their coaching business on the side or getting prepared to move into that full-time or do it part-time. But the reality is they're not spending enough time on it in order to facilitate anything, growth or, even knowledge as to how to run the business, because they're all in and focused on that full-time job. So it's almost like if you are even contemplating it and you're contemplating going all in, take a week off and focus solely on that business for a week and see how it feels on you first. Because if it doesn't feel good, then you're going to be running a really risky gamble, quitting a day job and running that business. So without a doubt, try and spend maximum amount of time on that business in order to facilitate how it feels. Does it feel good? Does it feel terrible? Does it feel icky? And work on those sorts of things first.
I think that's a great tip. I'm so glad that you all were saying this, because that was like, oh my goodness, I'd say just quit. Because it actually doesn't make sense, right? I had that too. As soon as I can replace my corporate income, I'll quit my job. But unless you can clone yourself,
it's not going to work.
And I know when I did it, fortunately I had more of a boss, and it just got to a tipping point where I had a very cathartic I quit moment, which was awesome. But then I made a commitment that, okay, I'm going to give myself 3 months, and in 3 months I need to be at the point in my business where I've replaced that corporate income. And I hustled and I worked long days, like 6.5 days a week for 3 months, and then I was there, and then it got easier. And one of the things I see in our industry when people make this transition is leaving behind the skill set that you've developed over that time in corporate. Those skills that you got in whatever it is you're doing or have done in the past, they will serve you so well as an entrepreneur. So know that if you've been managing teams, or you've been running a store, or you've been whatever role you've had in a full-time job, those skills will really give you such a strong foundation in being able to work well for yourself. So don't discount, although it might be a pivot, don't discount the skill sets that you'll bring with you when you do make that switch.
And also mindset too. There's a lot of mindset work that needs to go into yourself before you even contemplate running a business, because we see in this, social media frenzy of these perfect lives, these perfect businesses, but they don't share the challenges, the ups and downs, the late nights, ripping your hair out, crying in front of your computer, your kids sitting on your lap, breastfeeding while you're typing away. None of that is shown in all of its entirety. So having that mindset ready before you jump in is really important. So I think also, if you can, work with a mindset coach just a little bit to, pre-work those emotions, and having that in place as well, if you're definitely going all in, is important.
Yeah, and have a support system. Don't do this alone. Don't do this alone. This is insanity to do alone. Okay, you need people in your corner. That's going to be days, but you're going to, I always say, I have my people that I can call to just shift my perspective, right? It's thinking, just like Kylie said, your mindset is such an important part. And when it goes down the drain, you better have somebody you can pick up the phone and call, and at least pull you out of there for a little bit, get you to look at things a little bit differently and keep you going and motivated and have support. And, I'm part of masterminds all the time, and it's so valuable to have that level of support of both coaches and mentors, but also peers that I can that's like in the trenches with me doing what I'm doing. So don't do it alone.
And also,
sorry, you go. Go, Lily.
Sorry, just a bit of what Madeline said. She said in the chat about staying lean and mean. Mm-hmm. Don't take on a bunch of overhead that doesn't bring you.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've had friends who start a business and they go out and they spend $25,000 on a website. Now, spending $25,000 on a website, it may be not crazy if you're making $250,000 a year in your business. But it is crazy if you're making zero, okay? There's no reason for that. That's insanity, right? That's one of those insanity. I mean, luckily none of you will do, because Kylie just gave you the template. Website, so there you go. But, stay lean and mean, and only spend money on business critical activities, things that actually are going to bring you the return on investment, actually going to bring your money back.
But do it. Don't be scared, because it's awesome. And I don't think any of us would go back. Like, it's the best thing ever.
Thing ever, for sure. I think I'm unemployable at this point, right?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, and I didn't quit. I literally had to be fired from my job. Oh yeah, true story.
I wish we had time to hear that story.
It's a great story.
Oh man.
Okay. This has been really, really fun. Thank you so much, Louise, for all your hard work and for bringing everybody together. This has been really fun. And thank you to all of you guys who's been hanging out with us. Just really love and appreciate all the energy you've been bringing to the call. And Amy and Lisa and Kylie, super excited to share and learn from you.
Yeah, it has been amazing. I've just seen that Kate's put in the chat, is this recorded? Yes, this is recorded. So recording will be going out tomorrow. So yes, if you want to watch it again, you didn't get all the notes, then yes, you didn't catch it all, then yeah, the recording's going out tomorrow. I just have a couple more questions, if that's okay. From the chat earlier, Katie says she definitely needs help with SEO. She's gone through Yoast training and she still can't get on the first page of Google. So what can...
I just have one advice. Hire Lisa to do it for
yes.
you. There's no reason to keep poking yourself. There's none. No reason for that.
I have a couple of quick tips. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna share some love as well. So a couple of tips. If you've done, I'm guessing you did the copywriting course from Yoast, because they have a bunch of them. But if your post is amazing, the most valuable one out there, and it's keyword optimized as per their plugin, there's two other things to consider. Number one, go and look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 posts and see what they have that you don't. Because there may be an entire section that you could add to your post to really make it even better than awesome. And number two, maybe you need to tweak keywords slightly. So if you do kind of, like, as I was mentioning, the one-off keyword research where you have an idea what you want to talk about and then you find the keyword, so you could see if maybe you need to tweak it slightly, reorder the words or do some kind of synonyms, and then try and optimize the post for that. So good luck. You can email me as well the link and the keyword, and I'll see if I can help you. So it's hopefully that'll help.
Oh, that's Lisa. That's really kind. Thank you. That's really sweet. And then we had another question for you, Lisa, is about kind of length of how long should blog post be? So you said about the kind of an epic blog post. Do you have any advice about kind of your general weekly regular blogs? How, like, any idea on length?
I'm generally the longer the better. However, your epic ones are really what you would put your effort into. If you are writing, if you have like 4 or 6 epic blog posts, the other ones can be short, but they have to be on target and link. Remember I was mentioning those links, those internal anchor links, make sure they're all linking to the epic ones to give it more link juice. So you can even do short ones every once in a while. You could do this wonderful. I can't imagine writing 50 posts in a couple of weeks, but oh my gosh, if you did that and you did a whole bunch of short ones and then they all interlinked with some of your awesome big ones, then put your effort into the big ones and don't worry about the other ones. It's nice to have regular content though every week or two. They don't not all have to be epic. The only people who do that hire people to do that for them. They don't do it themselves. 100%, I know. It's true. It's impossible. Like, you can't do it all.
Yeah. Okay, that is the end of the questions. And that brings us, we are 7 minutes over, so thank you everyone for staying. That brings us to the end of our Health and Wellness Business Accelerator. What an amazing as it has been. Thank you so much to Lisa and Amy and Kai and Madeline. Thank you so much for all the time and effort that you put into your presentations and to promoting the live stream. It has been amazing. And thank you everyone who has turned up live, and thank you if you've joined in the chat. I hope you have found this useful. I hope you found it, I hope you've learned something. I know that I have. I've learned loads tonight. And yeah, and I hope this has helped you with your business and you can take some things that you've learned here and they will really help kind of take your business to the next level. Is there anything that anyone else wants to add?
Just super excited, and just thank you guys so much, everybody who's been here on the call and all the panels. It's been really fantastic event, really exciting. Thank you, Louise, for pulling it all together.
Oh, you're welcome.
Definitely amazing. And thank you, Louise. And it was, wow. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes, ladies. So I came here and I was advertising this as I am not an expert in everything. I'm bringing my notebook. So come with me with your notebooks because we're all going to learn a ton. So it was fabulous, just fabulous.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I will leave it there, and we will, I will be sending out the recording tomorrow, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It's been great to have you here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Louise. Thanks again.
You're welcome.